Good morning, my dear friend. As the first golden rays of dawn stretch across the horizon and the world stirs gently awake, I want to welcome you into this sacred moment. Morning is not just a time, it is a sanctuary. There is something deeply spiritual about the stillness that hovers between the last shadow of night and the promise of a new beginning. The world, hushed and unhurried, feels closer to heaven during these early hours. In this quiet space, when the noise of the day has not yet crept in, our souls are most receptive. Our hearts can breathe again. And maybe, just maybe, this is when heaven leans closest to earth. Somewhere, someone is sitting at the edge of their bed, eyes wide open but heart weighed down. The night offered no rest, only racing thoughts and relentless worry. Perhaps you can picture it clearly. Maybe it is you, a soul caught in the storm of grief after losing someone they loved, a parent anxious about their child's future, a young person crushed under the pressure of expectations. Or maybe it is the silent ache of loneliness that never leaves. Whatever it may be, pain wears many faces. It does not always shout, it often whispers in moments like this, when everything is still and no one else sees. And yet, in this very moment, there is a whisper greater than fear, a quiet invitation, not from the world, but from the one who shaped it. The invitation is not to perform or pretend, but simply to come, to bring the questions, the confusion, the anger, and the grief not as polished words, but as they are, raw, real, heard. This is where our journey begins. Not from a mountaintop of clarity, but from the valley of human experience. You are not stepping into this day alone. There is one who walks with you, and through the power of prayer, your pain does not remain unheard. Every sigh, every tear, every trembling thought has a place before the throne of mercy. Prayer is not a formula. It is not a performance. It is not a ritual reserved for the perfect. It is a conversation. It is a lifeline. It is the soul's cry meeting divine compassion. When we pray, we are not throwing words into the void. We are speaking into the heart of the one who listens. And not only does he listen, he responds with peace, with clarity, with presence. So, take a deep breath. Let the worries of yesterday begin to loosen their grip. Lay aside the what-ifs and the should-haves. You are here, now, and that is enough. This moment is not about fixing everything. It is about opening everything. It is about stepping into the quiet and letting your spirit speak. You do not have to have perfect words. You do not need to pretend to be strong. You only need to be honest, open, present. The journey we are about to take is not one of distant theology. It is a path of intimacy, a return to the one who knows you deeper than you know yourself. Let this morning be more than routine. Let it be sacred. As the sky turns from gray to gold, may your heart awaken to not with fear, but with faith. Because prayer is powerful, not because of how we pray, but because of the one we pray to. Are you ready? Dear friend, then let your heart lean in. Let your soul begin to breathe. And let us now enter into a sacred conversation that just might change everything. Dear Heavenly Father, this morning I come to you with a heart that feels heavy. Before I have even stood to face the day, the sun is rising beyond the window, casting its soft glow over the world, but inside me the light feels dim. The world outside awakens with birdsong and the quiet rhythm of a new beginning, but within me there is still fog and silence. It is hard to describe the weight I carry, but it is real. It sits on my chest. It presses behind my eyes. It keeps my breath shallow and my thoughts scattered. I did not wake up ready. I woke up wary. I do not pretend to understand why some mornings feel this way. Why the past seems louder than the present. Why fears that I thought I had laid down last night rise up again before the coffee even brews. Maybe I am not alone in this. Maybe there are others like me, whose first thoughts in the morning are not of hope or purpose, but of pressure, or sadness, or confusion. Maybe someone somewhere opened their eyes today and wished they had not. I do not want to feel ashamed of this heaviness. I want to bring it to you honestly, without hiding or shrinking back. You see it all anyway. Every part of me. Every tangled thought. Every quiet H. You know what I cannot put into words. And that is why I come to you now. Not with polished prayers or rehearsed lines, but just as I am, with eyes that still sting from last night's tears, with shoulders that feel like they are holding up too much, with a soul that is not sure how to move forward. You are not far. You are here. And though I cannot see you, I need you more than I can say. I do not have a plan for this day, not one that feels strong or confident. I do not have a sense of certainty. I only have questions. What if I fail today? What if nothing changes? What if I am not enough for what lies ahead? These thoughts crowd my mind before I have even gotten out of bed, and they are loud, louder than truth, louder than peace, louder than anything I want to hear. But still, in the middle of this mental storm, I choose to come to you, because you are not overwhelmed by my weakness. You are not surprised by my fear. You are not distant when I am uncertain. You are the one who holds the morning, and if you hold the sky and the sun, then surely you can hold me too. I do not ask for everything to be fixed in an instant. I just ask that I might feel you near, that I might know I am not alone in this quiet battle. Dear Father, I do not want to carry this weight alone. I do not want to spend another day trying to seem okay while breaking on the inside. You know how tired I am of pretending. You know how much strength it takes just to keep smiling. So I hand you the parts of me that feel broken, the places where peace has been hard to find, the corners of my heart that still feel dark, even as daylight fills the sky. I know you are not afraid of my darkness. I know you are not impatient with my pain. You do not rush me to heal. You simply stay. And in your staying, I begin to believe that maybe I am safe. Maybe I am held. Maybe the morning is not my enemy, but an invitation, not a test of endurance, but a chance to be near you again. That thought alone helps me breathe a little deeper. Sometimes the hardest part is just starting. The day, just standing up, just facing the mirror, just making that first decision. So, Father, Would you meet me in those first steps? Would you hold my hand as I rise? Would you steady me when my knees feel weak and my mind is full of noise? Would you walk with me as the world begins to wake? Let this not be a day I survive, but a day I live, no matter how slow, no matter how small. If all I can offer today is my breath, let it be enough. If all I can bring is my quiet presence, let it be welcomed by you. I do not come with strength this morning. I come with need. And I believe that you receive me not because I have it all together, but because you love me in the middle of my mess, in the middle of my questions, in the middle of this very real and fragile moment. I want to believe that you are here, that you are close to the brokenhearted, that you bend low to listen when I whisper, that you are not waiting for me to become someone better, stronger, wiser, or braver, but that you are already loving me right now, in this breath, in this thought, in this quiet prayer that I barely have the strength to whisper. Help me to be honest today. Help me to stop pretending. Help me to come to you not as who I think I should be, but as I really am. Let me rest in knowing that you already know it all and still choose to stay. Let that be enough for this moment. Let that be the first light of this morning. Let that be what carries me through whatever today holds. Lord, if you are listening, then hear me now, because as I sit in this moment, I realize I cannot hold it in anymore. The H I tried to carry in silence has become too loud. I have tried to be composed, tried to make it through with strength, tried to manage the weight without showing the cracks. But I cannot keep pretending that I am okay. I cannot keep moving through life with a quiet scream buried inside me. So I open my mouth. And finally, the words begin to come. Not polished. Not perfect. Just real. Just raw. Yesterday, I whispered my awareness to you. This morning, I can no longer whisper. I need to cry out. I need to let the ache escape. I need to let the fear rise up and be seen. You already know it is there. You have seen it growing, pressed into corners of my soul. You have waited patiently, letting me come to this place, this breaking point, where silence can no longer carry what I feel. And now that I am here, I do not want to hold back. I feel like I am standing in the middle of a vast, empty room, screaming into the dark, not knowing if anyone hears. I wonder if my words even reach you, or if they fall to the ground unnoticed. I wonder if you are near, or if I have wandered too far. There is something terrifying about not knowing, about opening your heart to the sky and waiting for something, anything to answer back. But I am here, Lord. I am here and I am trying. I do not want to hide behind empty words. I do not want to recite verses that I do not believe right now. I want to tell you the truth. And the truth is, I am afraid that this pain will last, afraid that the loneliness will deepen, afraid that my prayers will go unanswered, afraid that I am too broken to be repaired, afraid that I am alone. And these fears, they pile up, pressing against my chest until breathing feels like effort. There are tears I have not allowed to fall, grief I have buried beneath distractions. But you know it is there. You know how much I miss what I lost. You know how I carry it with me like an invisible shadow. You know the weight of unanswered questions that haunt me. Why did it happen? Why did not you stop it? Why does it still hurt? I do not know if I am allowed to ask these things, but they rise up in me anyway, not as accusations, but as cries for clarity, for comfort, for anything that feels like truth. And still, even now, something in me reaches for you. Something believes that maybe you hear. Maybe you understand what no one else has. Maybe you see the parts of me I can't even explain. I want to believe that you are not repelled by my honesty, that you do not turn away when I am weak, that you do not grow tired of my questioning or impatient with my sorrow, that even in this outpouring, you draw closer, not further. I do not have tidy answers to give you. I do not have beautiful words to impress you. All I have is this moment, this flood of emotion, this groan too deep for language. All I have is this reaching, this desperate reaching for something solid, something eternal, something that will not crumble beneath my trembling weight. I want to trust that you are that something, that you are not fragile, that you are not distant, that you remain, even when everything else falls apart. This cry is not a tantrum. It is not a test. It is the soul's way of saying, I need you, not in theory, not as an idea, but as a presence. I need to know that I can break here and still be held, that I can bring you every shattered piece and not be turned away. I have cried alone before, into pillows, into darkness, into silence. But now I want to cry to you, because if you are real and I still believe you are then the only one who can carry this with me. I need you to help me be brave enough to cry like this, to pour it all out without censoring my feelings, to let the tears fall without shame, to know that my vulnerability does not disqualify me, but draws you closer. Help me believe that my brokenness is not a burden to you, but a doorway, that when I finally stop pretending to be fine, that is where you begin to meet me. God, I do not expect all the pain to leave at once. I do not need the answers right now, but I need to know that I am not talking to the ceiling, that these words are not just echoing into an empty space, that when I say your name, it matters, that when I cry out, you move, that when I call, you come, even if I cannot feel you. Help me trust that you are listening, that you are not just observing from afar, but drawing near to comfort me. Let me rest in the mystery of a God who welcomes tears and does not rush healing. I am not asking you to fix me instantly. I am asking you to stay, to sit with me in this place, as messy and sacred as it is. Let my crying not be wasted. Let it be sacred. Let it water something new in me, a deeper trust, a more honest relationship with you. Let it be the beginning of something healing, even if it still feels like breaking. If you truly collect every tear, then I offer them freely now, not one held back. And if I tremble as I pray, let it not be from fear, but from knowing that something holy is happening, that heaven hears what this world cannot understand, that somewhere beyond what I can see, you are already at work, not punishing, not ignoring, but loving, healing, waiting for me to come just as I am. And here I am, God. Here I am, crying into what once felt like a void, believing that the void is not empty after all, believing that you are here. Father, even as the last of my tears find their way down my face, something stirs quietly beneath the H. I do not know where it came from. Maybe it was hiding beneath the heaviness all along, but I sense a small flicker, like a tiny flame trying to survive in the wind. It is not loud or bright, but it is there. A fragile reminder of something I used to feel when I called out to you. Something I have almost forgotten, but desperately want to remember. As I sit here in the stillness after the crying, a few memories begin to surface, not ones I forced, but ones you gently bring forward. Like soft light breaking through a forest canopy, they come slowly, hesitantly, and I let them come. I remember a time when I felt you near, not because life was perfect, but because my heart was tender enough to notice. I remember praying and sensing that you actually heard me. I remember moments when my soul was steadier, when peace was not a stranger, when my heart could rest without effort. There was that quiet evening I watched the sky turn from gold to deep blue and felt something sacred in the air, or that night when I sat in the dark, overwhelmed, and suddenly peace settled around me like a blanket. Or that morning when I opened my Bible, not expecting anything, and the words felt as if they had been written just for me. These were not dramatic miracles, just quiet moments of connection. But they mattered. They left their mark. They were real. I do not want to romanticize the past. I know every season has its own kind of weight, but in this moment, Lord, I need to hold on to what once was not as a comparison, not to feel what I have lost, but to remember what is still possible. If you met me before, if you breathed peace into my chaos even once, then you can do it again. If you came close before, then you can be close now. Memory is sacred, is not it? Not just nostalgia, but holy remembrance. You told your people again and again to remember. Remember how you led them. Remember how you delivered them. Remember how you fed them when they were starving and held them when they were wandering. Maybe that is what you are inviting me to do now. Not to live in the past, but to draw strength from it, to recognize that the same God who was with me then is the one I am speaking to now. So even though my heart still feels fragile, even though my questions remain unanswered, I let these small memories rise. They are like embers, glowing softly, waiting to catch flame again. And I choose not to brush them aside. I choose to tend them. I choose to thank you for them. Because if I have ever felt your peace before, it means peace is real. If I have ever heard your whisper in the dark, then you are not silent. If I have ever felt seen by you, then I am not invisible. You have not changed. Maybe I have drifted. Maybe I have grown calloused. Maybe life has bruised parts of me that used to be soft. But you are the same. And that brings me comfort, because it means that the path back to you is not closed. It is still here, waiting. I do not have to force something new. I just have to return to that sacred place where my heart speaks honestly and your love answers quietly. There is something healing in this remembering. Something steadying. It does not erase the pain, but it gives it perspective. It reminds me that this is not the first dark place I have walked through, and every time before, even when I could not feel it in the moment, you led me out, maybe not all at once, maybe not the way I expected, but you were there, working, holding, shaping. I remember how it felt to worship even when I did not feel like it. I remember how the tears would fall, but the words still came. I remember how, after surrender, came a strange kind of peace. Not loud, not explosive, but steady. That peace was not from me. It never could have been. It was from you. It always was. God. I need to remember the way you have carried me, because if I forget, I will believe this moment is all there is. If I forget, I will think the silence means abandonment. If I remember, then I can hope again, not because I understand everything, but because I know the story is not over. You have written beauty before from broken places. You have brought light into nights I thought would never end. I do not need a dramatic sign today. I do not need the sky to split open or the earth to shake. I just need the flame to keep flickering. I just need to hold on to what I know you have already done. That is enough to carry me for now. That is enough to help me keep breathing through this morning. Help me to keep these memories close not as souvenirs, but as reminders of who you are. Let them anchor me. Let them become stepping stones when I feel like I am drowning. Let them teach me that the God who was faithful before is still faithful now. Sometimes I think I need something new to believe again. But maybe I just need to look back with honest eyes and see that you were there all along, in the smallest gestures, in the stillness, in the whispered prayers that found their way back to me through peace I did not understand. Thank you for the mercy of memory. Thank you for reminding me that I have not imagined you, that I have not invented comfort to cope, that what I experienced was real, and it mattered. I ask that you keep those memories alive within me. Let them be a gentle fire when the night feels long. Let them be the quiet proof that I am not forgotten. Let them be the invitation to keep reaching for you again. I may not have the strength to move mountains today, but I have the will to remember. I have the courage to let that little flame live again. And maybe, just maybe, that is the beginning of faith waking up inside me once more. God. As the warmth of those memories lingers in my heart, something else begins to surface, something I have long tried to ignore. In the light of what you have done before, I can no longer pretend that the chains around my mind are not there. I feel them tightening in moments when I try to breathe freely. They are not made of metal, but they bind me just the same. And today, I want to face them. I want to call them by name, not to dwell in defeat, to begin the journey toward freedom. I used to think that if I ignored the thoughts that chased me, they would eventually disappear. But they have not. They have only learned to speak in quieter tones, to whisper in the cracks of my confidence, to sit just beneath the surface of my smile. They take on different forms: doubt, guilt, fear, regret, but they all serve the same purpose. They convince me that I am stuck, that I am less, that I will never be free. So I speak them now, not to give them power, but to take it back. I name the thought that tells me I am not good enough, that I will always fall short no matter how hard I try. I name the shame that clings to moments I wish I could erase, mistakes I cannot undo. I name the fear that constantly reminds me of everything that could go wrong, everything I might lose, every way I could fail. There is the lie that says I must be perfect to be loved. There is the voice that says if I am not productive, I am worthless. There is the weight of comparison that tells me I will never measure up to those around me. There is the pressure to always have it together, to never break, to always be strong for others. There is the silence that falls when I want to speak, but do not feel worthy to be heard. These are the chains I carry. They are not always loud, but they are always present. They shape the way I think, the way I speak to myself, the way I expect too little from your love and too much from my own effort. And I am tired of them. I am tired of pretending I do not hear them. I am tired of letting them define my worth. Father, I need you to help me see that these thoughts are not truth. They may feel familiar, but that does not make them holy. They may echo from my past, but that does not mean they have a place in my future. Help me discern the difference between your voice and the voices that lie to me. Teach me to recognize what is rooted in fear and what is born from love. You are not the one who tells me I am too far gone. You are not the one who holds my failures against me. You are not the one who leads me deeper into shame. You are the one who lifts my head. You are the one who speaks freedom where I hear condemnation. You are the one who invites me to walk out of the prison I have built in my mind. So I ask you now, with as much honesty as I can offer, show me where the chains begin. Show me the first time I believed I had to earn love. Show me where the lie took root that said I must always be strong. Show me the moment I decided my voice did not matter. Not so that I can stay there, but so I can heal from there. I want to understand where these patterns began, because I do not want to live by them anymore. I want to live with clarity. I want to know truth, not just read about it. I want to believe in your goodness without conditions. I want to walk freely in who I am without dragging the weight of false expectations. I want to think thoughts that give life, not ones that steal it. Your word says that the truth will set me free, but to walk in truth, I must first see the lies. I must confront them, unmask them, and let them go. That scares me more than I would like to admit. These thoughts have been with me so long they almost feel like part of who I am. But I know that is not true. They are not my identity. They are my captors. And I am ready to break free. Help me to be patient with myself as I unlearn these patterns. Help me to be kind when I stumble. Help me to keep choosing truth, even when the lies come dressed in logic or past experience. I know they will not disappear overnight, but every time I speak their name and lay them at your feet, they lose a little more power. I ask that you fill the space they once held. Let your words become louder than my fears. Let your love take the place of my shame. Let your grace soften the places where I have been hard on myself for too long. I do not want to leave this work half finished. I want to walk all the way through. I know that naming the chains does not break them, but it is the first step. It is the moment I stop pretending and start reclaiming the truth. The moment I say no more to the thoughts that keep me small, that keep me stuck, that keep me scared. Let your light expose every hidden lie. Let it burn away the roots that do not belong. Let it cleanse the spaces where fear has made its home. And in that clearing, plant something new, something strong and holy and honest. You did not create me to live imprisoned in my own thoughts. You created me for freedom, for joy, for peace. I may not know how to walk in that yet, but I am willing to learn. I am willing to step forward, even with trembling feet, and say, I will no longer serve the voices that lie. Let this be a turning point. Let this be the day I stop agreeing with what has harmed me. Let this be the hour I begin to believe that I can be free, not in theory, but in the real, day-to-day living of my life. Not because I am strong enough, but because you are. I name the chains so I can give them to you, one by one, thought by thought, lie by lie. I do not want to carry them anymore. I do not want them to shape who I am becoming. I trust that you are doing a deeper work in me, and even if I cannot see it yet, I believe something is already shifting. Something is already loosening. Something is already being made new. Father, now that I have named the chains, I find myself holding them in open hands. The lies I once clung to feel heavier than I imagined when I dared to say them out loud. I see now how much space they have taken in my thoughts, how they have rooted themselves in quiet places and disguised themselves as truth. And in the stillness that follows the naming, I realize I cannot carry them any longer. I do not want to. So here I am, ready not just to identify them, but to surrender them. There is a strange kind of fear that comes with surrender. Letting go feels uncertain. It feels like standing at the edge of something I cannot yet see, loosening my grip on what I have used to survive. But surviving is not the same as living. These thoughts, these burdens, may have helped me feel in control, but they have not given me life. They have worn me down. They have kept me guarded. They have filled my mind with noise and stolen the quiet, where peace was meant to dwell. So I speak it now not with dramatic flair, but with quiet resolve. I surrender, not as a sign of defeat, but as an act of trust. I am not giving up. I am giving over. I am placing my thoughts, my fears, my spinning questions, into hands that are stronger and steadier than mine. I surrender the need to understand everything. I surrender the urge to manage outcomes I cannot control. I surrender the part of me that wants to fix, to force, to figure it all out on my own. God, you know how hard that is for me. You know how often I have depended on logic, on planning, on trying to anticipate what might happen next. I thought if I could just think long enough, hard enough, I could find safety. But the safety I have been searching for has only left me exhausted. The more I have tried to grasp control, the more it has slipped through my fingers. So now, with honesty and trembling faith, I lay it down. I surrender the endless loops of overthinking, the what-ifs that chase each other through my mind, the constant analysis of every word I said, every decision I made, every moment I wish I could relive. I surrender the pressure to be perfect, to always say the right thing, to never let anyone down. I surrender the fear of disappointing others, the fear of not being enough, the fear of being seen as weak. I bring all of it to you, not neatly packaged, not sorted or organized, just as it is. Jumbled, messy, real. You do not require me to make it presentable. You just ask me to bring it. And that is what I am doing now. I am releasing the illusion that I can carry this alone. I am placing it into your care. Let this surrender not be a moment of emotional collapse, but a holy exchange. I give you my anxious thoughts, and I ask you to give me your peace. I give you my confusion, and I ask for clarity, not necessarily about the future, but about today, about this hour, about this breath. I give you my fear, and I ask for courage, not the kind that roars, but the kind that quietly keeps going, the kind that trusts even without answers. You have not asked me to be fearless. You have asked me to trust. You have not demanded that I figure everything out. You have invited me to lean on you, so I let go. Slowly, yes. Hesitantly, maybe, but I let go. I surrender the tight grip I have kept on my thoughts and ask you to renew my mind with your truth. Replace the clutter with clarity. Replace the panic with peace. Replace the noise with stillness. I know it won't happen all at once. I know I may pick these thoughts back up without realizing it. But I also know that every time I choose surrender over control, I take a step toward freedom. Every time I release instead of resist, something within me grows softer, more open, more alive. This surrender is not weakness, is strength in its truest form. It is acknowledging that I was never meant to carry what only you can hold. I do not want to play God in my own mind. I want to let you be God fully, freely, deeply. I want you to reign over my thoughts the way you reign over the stars, not with force, but with gentle authority, with the kind of love that does not coerce, but invites. So I open the doors I have kept locked, the ones I thought were safer closed, the rooms in my mind where I have hidden memories, expectations, fears, and dreams. I give you access, Lord. Come in. Rearrange what needs shifting. Remove what does not belong. Restore what has been damaged. Let nothing be off limits. Let nothing stay in the dark. And as I release these burdens, I ask you to remind me of who I am apart from them. I am not my thoughts. I am not my past. I am not the sum of my fears or failures. I am yours. I belong to the one who sees through the chaos and calls me by name. The one who is not intimidated by my questions or disappointed by my struggles. The one who invites me again and again to lay it all down. This surrender is not a one-time prayer. I know that it is a rhythm, a returning, a daily choice to yield my mind to something greater than me. Help me make that choice, not just today, but tomorrow, and the next day, and the one after that. When I feel the pressure rising, remind me that I have another option. I can surrender. I can rest. I can trust. Let this act of surrender reshape my thinking. Let it teach me a new way to live, a way marked not by striving, but by abiding, not by constant motion, but by steady presence, not by endless questioning, but by quiet confidence in your goodness. This is not easy for me, Lord, but I am here. I am willing. I am tired of the weight, tired of the spinning, tired of trying to hold everything together on my own. Take this mind of mine and make it yours. Take these thoughts and fill them with light. Take this heart and let it rest in the freedom of surrender. I believe you meet me here, and I believe that even now, something is being made new. Father, now that I have laid it all down, my striving, my spinning thoughts, my anxious need to control, I notice something I have not felt in a long time. It is subtle, barely there at first, like the hush that settles after a storm. But it is real. It is not silence in the sense of absence. It is the presence of stillness, a breath that fills more deeply, a space between my thoughts that was not there before, and in that space, I sense you. This is what peace feels like, is not it? Not loud, not flashy, not forced, just present, just steady. It comes in gently, like the tide, washing over places that have long been dry. I did not expect it. I did not demand it. I simply made room for it when I surrendered what was never mine to carry. And now, in the absence of chaos, you arrive not with noise or pressure, but with calm. Lord, I have chased peace for so long in all the wrong places. I have tried to earn it by doing more, by being better, by fixing every loose end in my world. I have thought that if I could just resolve the conflicts, clean up the messes, or prove myself to others, I would finally feel at rest. But peace does not come that way. It never lasts when it is built on my own strength. What I feel right now, in this quiet moment with you, is different. It is not peace because my life is finally in order. It is peace because I am no longer trying to hold it all together. It is peace because I have made space for you to hold me instead. Breathe into me, God, with every inhale. Let me receive what you freely give. With every exhale, let me release what no longer serves me. Let my breath be a prayer. Let each moment of stillness be a resting place for my soul. I do not want to miss this. I do not want to rush past it. This peace is not passive. It is not the absence of struggle, it is the presence of trust. It is rooted in the deep knowing that you are here, that I am not alone, and that I do not have to perform to be loved. There is something sacred in this calm, and I want to live from it, not just visit it. I want this to be the rhythm of my heart, not just a rare gift I stumble into. Let this breath be more than oxygen. Let it be a reminder of your nearness. When my mind begins to race again, help me return to this place, this breath, this presence, not by escaping life, but by entering it more fully anchored in you. Teach me to protect this peace, not by shutting the world out, but by welcoming you into it. Let my life be grounded, not because it is perfect, but because it is rooted in something unshakable. In you, in the quiet truth that you are always with me, even when I cannot feel it, even when the waves rise again. Lord, this peace does not erase the realities I face. It does not remove the tasks ahead of me or undo the challenges that await, but it changes how I face them. It shifts the atmosphere within me, and that shift, subtle as it may seem, is everything. It is what I have been longing for. Let this become my new beginning, a life not led by panic, but by presence, not driven by fear, but moved by faith. Not caught in the noise of overthinking, but resting in the stillness that comes from knowing you are in control. I have tried to control my life like a clenched fist, but peace asks me to open my hands, to release, to trust, and in this moment, I do. I unclench. I soften. I welcome the stillness and let it do its work. Thank you for not rushing me. Thank you for meeting me in surrender, not with judgment, but with gentleness. I can see now that you were never waiting for me to be strong. You were waiting for me to let go. And when I did, you did not flood in with noise or instruction. You came with breath, with quiet, with rest. Let this be what fills the empty spaces I used to stuff with fear. Let this be the balm for every wound I kept hidden. Let this peace whisper to every part of me that has forgotten how to breathe without tension. Remind my body that it can rest. Remind my soul that it is safe. You are not in the chaos. You are in the calm that follows. You are not in the pressure. You are in the pause, and you are not far. You are closer than my next breath. That truth, in itself, is enough to steady me. I may forget this. I may lose sight of it when the pace of the day pick up, but even then, teach me to return, not with shame, but with simplicity. To pause, to breathe, to find you again in the quiet corners of my mind. Let me carry this peace into every conversation. Let it shape how I speak, how I listen, how I move through this world. Let it slow me down when I am tempted to rush. Let it center me when I feel pulled in 1,000 directions. Let it be the backdrop of every moment I love today. You are not a God of pressure. You are a God of presence. And in that presence, I am learning to rest, not because the world has changed, but because I have. Because something within me has shifted. Because you are teaching me a new way to exist, a way that is lighter, quieter, deeper. Let this peace grow roots in me. Let it stay even when the day grows loud. Let it return easily when I stray. Let it be the reminder that I do not walk alone, that I do not face the noise of life without an anchor. You are that anchor. You are the calm in my storm, the stillness in my chaos, the breath that revives me when I am weary. Let me live from that truth. Let me hold on to it gently, with gratitude and with open hands. Lord, as I sit here in the stillness you have given, surrounded by this quiet peace, that has finally found its way into my soul. I know I cannot stay here forever. I wish I could. I wish I could live in this untouched moment where the world is paused, where my mind is calm, where the chaos feels distant, but life waits outside this room. The day still unfolds ahead of me, and I know I have to move forward. Yet something within me resists, not because I do not want to live, but because the way ahead still feels uncertain, like stepping into a fog that has not yet lifted. God, I want to walk with confidence. I want to move into the day with bold steps and a clear mind. But the truth is, clarity does not always come first. Sometimes you ask me to walk before I can see. Sometimes the path is hidden, and all I have is the trust that you are walking it with me. That is where I am now. The fog has not cleared, but you are here. That has to be enough. It is strange how fear rises, not just from what is wrong, but from what is unknown. The future feels blurry, like a landscape half formed in mist. I do not know what today will bring. I do not know what conversations I will have, what emotions will catch me off guard. I do not know where resistance will show up or what part of me will feel weakest. I do not know what challenges I will face that I am not prepared for. I do not know what I will forget, what I will get wrong, or what I will carry when the day ends. But I do know this: I am not walking through the unknown alone. I am not stepping into the fog with empty hands. I am stepping into it with you beside me. With your voice still whispering from the stillness, with your presence tucked into the breath, I learned to trust. I do not need to see the whole road. I only need to see the next step. Teach me to be okay with that. Teach me that obedience does not require full vision. Teach me that trust sometimes looks like walking forward, even when my heart is still learning not to tremble. Help me remember that the fog is not a sign of abandonment. It is simply the way faith grows. And so, I take that first step. It may be small, it may be shaky, but it is still a step. I move not because I know everything will go right, but because I believe you go with me. I choose to trust that you are already ahead of me in the places I have not yet reached, that you have already prepared moments of grace for when I falter, and reminders of peace for when the pressure returns. I know the fog will tempt me to turn back, to question what I heard in the quiet, to doubt the peace I found in surrender. But I ask you, Lord, to remind me in those moments that peace was not a passing feeling, it was a person, you. And you do not disappear just because the path grows dim. When I cannot see far, let me see you. When the way is unclear, let your voice be enough. When doubt whispers that I am lost, speak louder with your love. Be the compass when I forget which way is forward. Be the lamp to my feet, not the floodlight to my future. I confess, God, I still want control. I still want the kind of certainty that removes all risk. But you are not a map. You are a guide. You do not hand me all the answers at once. You walk with me, step by step, and that is how trust is built, not by knowing everything, but by knowing you. So even if the road bends in ways I do not expect, I choose to believe you will not let me walk off course. You will redirect me with mercy. You will correct me with kindness. You will carry me when the path feels too heavy, and even when I feel like I am walking through clouded valleys. I know that light still breaks through the mist. Let my heart be anchored not in what I see, but in who you are. Let me lean on the memory of your presence and the faithfulness that has already walked me this far. You did not bring me into this day to leave me wandering. You are the shepherd, and I am still your own. If I stumble, meet me with grace. If I forget to pray, remind me gently. If fear tries to steal what peace you gave, be the stillness that steadies me again. I won't pretend to be fearless, but I will be faithful. I will keep walking. I will keep moving, even when the next steps seem unsure. And as I move, let me notice the signs of your nearness along the way. Let me see you in the kindness of a stranger, in the laughter I was not expecting, in the quiet moments where my soul exhales again. Let me find you in the detours, in the delays, in the moments that did not go as planned, but still held unexpected beauty. I may not always know which direction is best, but if I walk with you, I will not be lost. I may make mistakes. I may change course, but I am not wandering without purpose, because you waste nothing, not even the wrong turns. You are writing something sacred with every step I take, even the slow ones. Help me not to rush. Help me not to run ahead in fear or fall behind in doubt. Help me to walk, not to sprint, not to stall, but to walk with steady feet and an open heart. Let my pace be guided by peace, not panic. Let my movement be marked by grace, not perfection. This fog may not lift all at once. The answers I want may not come today. But I believe you are in the mystery. I believe you are shaping me in ways I do not yet understand. And when I look back one day, I will see that the fog I feared was the ground where trust was formed. So I take this day step by step, breath by breath, trusting that you are not just watching from above, but walking beside me through it all. Even if the way is unclear, the one who leads me is not, and that is enough. Father, now that I have taken steps into the fog, trusting your presence in the unknown, I find another weight pressing on me, one not from the uncertainty ahead, but from what lingers behind. I did not expect it, but as I move forward, I keep feeling the quiet pull of yesterday. The things I thought I left buried somehow still echo in my steps. The past is not loud today, but it is heavy, and I can deny that it is affecting how freely I walk with you. There are moments, Lord, that play in my mind like scenes I have watched too many times. Words I wish I had not said, decisions I regret, roads I took that led me far from peace. People I have hurt, people who hurt me, promises I broke, opportunities I missed. It does not always show on my face, but you see it the way I carry the past like a shadow, trying to stay ahead of it while never really feeling free from it. I know you have forgiven me. I have heard the words. I have even whispered them to myself, but something inside me still holds on. Not because I do not believe you, but because I have not learned how to forgive myself. And maybe that is what makes the past so loud, my inability to lay it fully down. God, why is it that I can tell others they are not defined by their failures, yet struggle to believe the same for me? Why is it easier to extend grace than to receive it? Why does shame still follow me into the places where I should feel safe? I want to move forward without fear, But sometimes I feel like a prisoner to memories I can change. I know you do not ask me to forget. You ask me to be free, but freedom feels complicated when the past feels unfinished. So I bring it all to you now, not piece by piece, but whole, unfiltered, unedited, unhidden. You know the full story. Every part, every wound, every wrong turn, every secret thought. You know what still brings tears to my eyes when no one else is around. You know what I still avoid when silence lingers too long. You see the way I replay conversations, wondering what I could be done differently. The way I scroll through memories, trying to rewrite what cannot be undone. And I think somewhere in all of that, I am still hoping I can fix it, but I can only bring it to you. I can only hand it over and trust that you can redeem what I cannot repair. Help me believe that nothing is wasted in your hands, that even my worst chapters can become part of a better story. Help me trust that your grace does not just cover my past, it transforms it. That you are not asking me to erase who I was, but to invite you into who I am becoming. I do not want to be stuck in cycles of guilt, Lord. I do not want to keep apologizing for things you have already forgiven. I do not want to keep punishing myself with silence or shame. I want to walk in the freedom you offer, not dragging behind me the chains of regret. Teach me how to release it not just with my words, but with my heart. Let your mercy speak louder than my memories. Let your truth outweigh the lies I have told myself about who I am because of what I have done. Let your love be the final word over every accusation I have held against myself. And for the pain I did not cause but still carry, I ask for healing. For the betrayals I still feel. For the silence that followed certain losses. For the things that happened to me that I never asked for, I bring those to you too. Because even the wounds I did not choose have shaped me. And some days they feel just as heavy. You see it all, Father, and yet you still call me beloved. You still invite me into today. You still whisper that I am more than my yesterday. That truth is hard to receive, but I want to learn how. I want to live like someone who has been set free. So, I begin again. I give you the timeline of my life, not just the polished parts, but the moments I have tried to forget. I invite you to step into them with your light, not to erase them, but to redeem them, to remind me that the past cannot hold me unless give it power. And I do not want to give it power anymore. Let your grace rewrite the meaning of what came before. Let it become the backdrop to your faithfulness. Let it tell of how far you have brought me, not how far I fell. Let it be a testimony, not a torment. Let it be a reason to worship, not a reason to hide. And when I find myself looking back again, help me look differently. Not through the lens of shame, but through the eyes of a God who never left. Help me see the moments where you were protecting me, even when I did not know. The times you were gently redirecting me, even through the pain. The ways you were already planting redemption in the places I thought were barren. I cannot change the past, Lord, but I can change how I carry it. I can choose not to drag it, but to learn from it. I can choose not to fear it, but to let it remind me of how deeply I have needed you, and how faithful you have been in response. You are not asking me to pretend none of it happened. You are asking me to trust that it no longer defines who I am. So today, I take one more step toward that trust. I let the weight slip from my shoulders, even if it is just for a moment. I let your voice speak over the noise of regret. And I choose to believe that who I was does not disqualify who I am becoming. You are not finished with me, and the past, no matter how loud, cannot speak louder than your love. I am still on the journey, and you are still walking with me. That is what gives me strength. That is what gives me hope. That is what helps me breathe a little easier as I move forward into whatever comes next. Father, as I take this next breath and continue walking forward, no longer carrying the weight of what has been, some deeper rises in me a need not just to be unburdened, but to be filled. I have emptied out so much lately, all the fears, all the memories, all the thoughts I tried to handle alone. And now, in the space where shame once sat and regret once whispered, I feel the quiet longing for something more, not just release, but renewal, not just freedom from the past, but restoration of the soul. That longing, I now see, is for grace, not the idea of it, but the real experience, the kind that does not just pat me on the back and tell me to move on, but the kind that seeps into every dry place and softens the hardness I did not realize was there, the kind that soaks through the cracks of who I am and tells me I am still whole, I am still yours. Lord, I have said the word grace so many times. I have read it, sung about it, told others to trust in it. But today, I want to feel it. I want to know what it means for me, not in theory, but in the depths of my own heart. I want to let it cover me like a warm blanket after a long and restless night. I want it to reach the parts of me that have been closed off, the places where I have believed I had to earn love or prove worth or strive endlessly just to feel acceptable. But you do not ask for performance. You ask for surrender. You do not wait for perfection. You meet me in my need. And when you give grace, you do not measure it or ration it. You pour it. You flood. You saturate. So I open myself to that now. Wash me, Father, in the truth that I am forgiven, not just tolerated, but cherished, not just tolerated, but delighted in. I know those words are hard to receive. I know that part of me resists feeling unworthy, but is not that the very point? Grace is not for the ones who have it all together. It is for the ones who do not, the ones like me. Let your grace undo the lies that still linger in my bones, the ones that say I will never be enough, that say I have gone too far or stayed stuck too long. Let it silence the voice that whispers, "You should have known better. You should be stronger by now." Let it speak a better word over my life, a word of mercy, of kindness, of hope. You are not keeping a tally of my failures. You are not waiting for me to fix myself before you draw near. You already did. You already came close. You already chose love. I do not have to earn what you freely give. Let that truth settle into my heart in a way it never has before. Let it become the foundation beneath my feet. Let it change the way I speak to myself, the way I carry my story, the way I see others too. Because grace does not just lift me, it transforms how I live. It shifts how I love. When I am tempted to slip back into striving, remind me of this moment. Remind me that your grace is not a distant concept, but daily presence. That it does not just greet me at the door, but walks with me through every hour. That I am not only saved by grace, but sustained by it. I do not want to live guarded anymore. I do not want to live trying to earn what is already mine. Let me receive it fully without guilt, without fear, without hesitation. Let me live as someone who has been washed, made clean, not because I deserve it, but because you are good, God. Let this grace not stop with me. Let it overflow. Let it spill into the way I treat others. Let it shape how I respond to those who fail, those who fall short, those who are still carrying what I have begun to lay down. Let me become a living reminder of what it looks like to be loved beyond performance. And when I falter again, and I will let me return here quickly. Let me not hide in shame or retreat into self-blame. Let me come running back into your arms, trusting that the grace that met me today will meet me again tomorrow. Let this become the rhythm of my life, not perfection, but presence. Not pressure, but peace. Not fear, but faith. You have not asked me to be flawless. You have asked me to be honest. And in that honesty, you meet me with a grace so wide, so deep, so undeserved that I cannot help but weep, not from sadness, but from relief, from gratitude, from awe. There is nothing I can do to increase your love for me, and nothing I have done to decrease it. That truth is both humbling and freeing. It removes every mask, every defense, every excuse. It allows me to simply be, to breathe, to rest. And so I sit in this moment. Father, letting grace do what striving never could. I let it remind me who I am. I let it speak peace over the noise. I let it cleanse not only my conscience, but my perspective. I let it fill the spaces that sorrow once occupied. You are not disappointed in me. You are not far from me. You are not waiting for me to clean myself up. You are here, pouring out what I can never repay. And all you ask is that I receive it, that I trust you enough to let it in. So I do. Right now, I do. I open wide. I let go of the need to be strong. I let go of the fear that I will fail again. I let go of the voice that says I am too much or not enough. And I let your grace be louder. Let it become the song in my soul. Let it be the reason I rise each day with hope. Let it be the answer when doubt knocks at my door. Let it be the comfort when the world grows cold. Let it be the truth I hold on to when all other truths seem to shift. Because if grace is real and I believe it is, then I am already held. I am already home. I am already whole, even in the places still being healed. Let me live like it. Let me love like it. Let me never forget what you have given me, and let me never stop receiving it. Father, as your grace settles deeper into my soul, I feel steadier than I did before. not because my circumstances have changed, but because something inside me has begun to shift. I no longer feel like I am floating, tossed by every voice that speaks or every emotion that rises. There is a stillness within me now, fragile but real, and I know it is because I am finally beginning to rest on something solid, on truth. Not truth as the world defines it, shaped by opinions or outcomes or momentary feelings, but truth that remains when everything else fades. Truth that existed before I even had words to doubt it. Truth is not built by my efforts or shaken by my fears. Truth that you have spoken over me since the beginning. Lord, I confess I have spent much of my life listening to lesser voices. I have let them name me. I have let them tell me who I am, what I am worth, how far I can go, and what I will never become. Sometimes those voices came from the outside, people who misunderstood me or judged me before they knew me. But more often, they came from within, from old beliefs I never challenged, from wounds I never addressed, from lies that disguised themselves as logic. But now I want to hear you louder than anything else. I want to let your truth anchor me so deeply that nothing can uproot me. Because the world is loud, and my own thoughts can betray me. Emotions rise and fall like the tide, but truth remains. It does not bend to my bad days or hide in my confusion. It is strong enough to hold me when I am weak. It is clear when I am clouded. It is light when I lose my way. So speak it to me again, God. Remind me of who I am, not who I fear I am, not who I have pretended to be, not who others expect, but who you say I am. Let that be my foundation. Let it become the place I return to when everything else feels unstable. You say I am loved not conditionally, not temporarily, but eternally. You say I am chosen not by accident or default, but by design. You say I am forgiven not partially, not hesitantly, but completely. You say I am yours not because I earned it, but because you wanted me. Let these truths move from my head to my heart. Let them settle into the places where lies once lived. Let them become the language I speak to myself when doubt returns. Let them be the mirror I look into when I forget my value. I no longer want to base my worth on what I can do or how well I perform. I no longer want to measure myself by the approval of others or the standards I was never meant to meet. I want to live grounded. I want to think clearly. I want my mind to echo what you have already declared. Father, help me to recognize when a thought does not come from you. Help me pause before I agree with anything that steals peace or sows fear. Help me identify the subtle ways I let untruth shape my decisions or relationships. I do not want to be led by confusion or condemnation. I want to be led by what is right, what is holy, what is life-giving. Let your word be my guide, not just in crisis, but every day. Let it not be something I reach for out of desperation, but something I hold out of devotion. Fill my heart with verses that remind me of who you are, so that when my world shakes, I remain unmoved. Let your promises become the internal compass that keeps me steady when my emotions shift. You are not a God of confusion. You are a God of clarity, a God of light. When I seek you, I do not find riddles, I find rest. When I listen closely, I do not hear pressure, I hear peace. You are not the voice that accuses or belittles. You are the voice that calls me forward with hope and love and purpose. So when the old patterns try to return, remind me what I have already learned. Remind me that truth is not just information, it is freedom. It is the key that unlocks the prison of shame. It is the path that leads away from fear. It is the door that opens into joy. And I want to walk through that door again and again. I want to live as someone who is rooted, not reactive, calm, not consumed. I want your truth to be so familiar that the lies sound foreign. I want to recognize your tone, the tenderness, the strength, the unwavering grace. Sometimes I still forget. Sometimes I still fall back into old thinking. But you are patient, and your truth does not run from my forgetfulness. It simply waits for me to return. Thank you for not demanding perfection, but offering direction. Thank you for giving me truth that speaks even in silence, that calls even when I am distant, that holds me even when I can feel it. Let this become my daily rhythm, returning to truth again and again, not because I failed, but because I am human, because life pulls at me and I need to be reminded, because storms come and I need to be anchored, because I can walk through the unknown without something to stand on. You are that something. You are the solid ground. You are the clarity in a culture of noise. You are the answer to the H that no achievement can soothe. So I choose today, once more, to root myself in you, to let your truth settle in my spirit and guide my thoughts, to let it cover the empty spaces and fill the fractured ones, to let it shape who I am, how I love, how I live. And even when I waver, even when I forget, even when I falter, I know your truth does not change. It does not weaken with my weakness. It does not vanish with my doubts. It stays. It holds. It speaks. Let it speak louder now than anything else. Let it echo through my thoughts, and I believe it in every fiber of who I am. Let it become the foundation under my feet as I step forward into this day. I know there will be voices, some gentle, some harsh, some subtle, but let me listen most closely to yours, the voice of truth, the voice of love, the voice that reminds me I am never alone, never forgotten, and always held. Father, now that I am anchored in the truth of who you are, who I am in you, I realize that something in me is beginning to quiet. The constant need to explain, defend, or fix is loosening its grip. The inner commentary, always analyzing and anticipating, is beginning to soften, and in this newfound stillness, I sense something deeper inviting me not to speak more, but to listen. I have spent so much of my life filling silence. I have treated prayer like a place to pour out every thought, every worry, every hope, and I know you have welcomed all of it. You never turned me away. You never made me feel like I was too much or not enough. But now, Lord, I want to lean into a different kind of intimacy with you, one where I speak less and listen more, one where I come not just to be heard, but to hear, because I believe you are always speaking, not with noise or chaos, but with clarity wrapped in quiet. You do not shout over my distractions. You wait until I slow down, until I make space, until I become still enough to notice. So I come to you now, not with a list, but with a heart that is open. I do not want to miss what you are saying simply because I am too busy trying to fill the moment with my own voice. I do not want to rush through this sacred space out of habit or fear of silence. I want to be fully present here, not trying to control the moment, but surrendering to it. Teach me to recognize your voice, Father, not just in moments of crisis, but in the rhythm of daily life, in the pauses between thoughts, in the quiet between tasks, in the gentle nudges I sometimes ignore. I know your voice is not always loud. Sometimes it comes as an impression, a pull, a gentle conviction that settles in my spirit before my mind can name it. Let me become familiar with it not just as a sound, but as a presence, not just as instruction, but as communion. Let me learn the tone of your heart, the cadence of your love. Let it become so familiar that I notice quickly when another voice tries to imitate or replace it. When you speak, you do not confuse, you do not rush, you do not manipulate. Your voice brings peace. Even when it challenges, it brings clarity. Even when it stretches me, it brings comfort, even when it corrects. And that is how I will know it is you, not just by what you say, but by how I feel when you say it. I know I have asked for direction many times. I have pleaded for answers, begged for signs, longed for certainty. But now, more than needing to know what is next, I want to know what you are saying in this moment. I want to be attentive, not just reactive. Sensitive, not skeptical. Willing, not withdrawn. Help me let go of the pressure to hear something spectacular. Sometimes I have believed that unless the moment is dramatic, it is not divine. But I am learning now that you often move in whispers, that the sacred shows up in the quiet, in the ordinary, in the unnoticed moments where a listening heart meets a loving God. And I want that. I want to live in a way that keeps my heart positioned to hear you at any moment, in the middle of my work, in the silence before sleep, in the joy of laughter, in the ache of waiting. Let my life become a listening space. Let my soul remain tuned to the frequency of your spirit. God, when you speak, you bring life. You speak worlds into being. You call the broken back to wholeness. You invite the weary into rest. You do not speak to impress. You speak to connect. You speak because you want to be close. And I want to be close too. I do not need a booming voice. I do not need to be overwhelmed. I just want to be available. Attentive. Aligned. Willing to lean in even when I do not fully understand. Willing to wait even when answers do not come quickly. Willing to trust that your silence is not absence, but invitation. So I quiet myself again. I breathe. I release the urge to perform. I create space within me not just for your words, but for your presence. Because sometimes you do not come with instructions. Sometimes you come just to sit with me. And maybe that is the deeper prayer I have needed all along, not to be told what to do, but to know I am not alone. If you choose to speak something clear, I will listen. If you choose to remain silent, I will listen still. Because listening to you is not just about gaining knowledge, it is about deepening trust, about being near, about being known. Let this become my posture, not just for this prayer, but for my life. Let me listen before I speak. Let me listen when I am afraid. Let me listen when I am unsure. Let me listen when I am surrounded by voices pulling in different directions. Let me listen long enough to recognize which voice brings peace, which voice leads to freedom, which voice echoes love. And when I hear you, whether through a whisper in my spirit, a line of scripture, a moment of beauty, or the kindness of another, help me respond. Help me not just to hear, but to obey. To trust that whatever you speak will be for my good, even if it challenges me. To believe that every word from you is a seed meant to grow something lasting in me. You are not distant. You are not silent. You are not playing games with my heart. You are near. You are speaking. And you delight in being heard. So I open every part of me to hear you, not just with my ears, but with my heart. Not just with my understanding, but with my spirit. Not just in this moment, but in the moments to come. Let my whole life become a conversation with you. Let me never be too busy, too distracted, or too doubtful to pause and listen. 'Cause every time you speak, you remind me that I am loved, that I am seen, and that I am held, and that is enough. Father, now that I am learning to quiet my soul and truly listen, I realize how often my gaze has been fixed downward on problems, on fears, on the things I cannot control. Even in moments of prayer, even in the stillness, I have noticed how much of my focus has been wrapped around the weight of what is right in front of me. But as I listen for you, as I tune my heart to your voice, something inside of me stirs and gently lifts. It tells me to look up, not away from life, not to escape responsibility or pretend the difficulties are not there, but up to shift my attention from everything that overwhelms me to the one who holds it all. To lift my eyes from the immediate to the eternal, from the fleeting chaos of this world to the steady beauty of who you are. Lord, I have spent so many hours staring at closed doors, at looming deadlines, at unanswered questions. I have looked at myself through the lens of worry and wondered how I would make it through. I have let circumstances shape my perspective and kept my eyes locked on everything that could go wrong. But you are reminding me now that when my focus is swallowed by fear, I forget where my help truly comes from. So I lift my eyes, not just my thoughts, but the very posture of my spirit. I raise my head toward heaven, not as a ritual, but as a choice to remember, a choice to realign, a choice to worship. Even here, you are still on the throne. You are still good. You are still sovereign over everything that feels uncertain in my life. And though I may not see what lies ahead, I can see you more clearly when I lift my eyes. God, I do not want to live with tunnel vision. I do not want to measure my days only by their troubles. I want to see the bigger picture, the eternal one. Want to remember that you are writing a story that is much larger than this moment. I want to see you at work, not just in the victories, but in the waiting. Not just in the breakthroughs, but in the process, When I lift my eyes, I start to remember who you are. I remember that you are the same God who split seas and calmed storms, who fed the hungry and healed the broken, who walked with outcasts and redeemed failures. And you are still that God, not just in the pages of Scripture, but in the pages of my life. I have been staring at the ground too long, Lord. I have been looking at my own feet, trying to figure out how to move forward without stumbling. But when I keep my head down, I miss the wonder above me. I miss the moments you are trying to show me that I am not alone, that there is beauty still unfolding, that there is hope rising even in places I once gave up on. So today, help me lift my eyes not just once, not just in this moment, but again and again as the day unfolds. When I feel discouraged, remind me to look up. When I feel overwhelmed, remind me to look up. When I start believing the lie that it is all up to me, remind me to look up. Let me see your fingerprints on the sky, in the people I pass, in the quiet kindnesses I might otherwise overlook. Let me not just lift my eyes in prayer, but keep them raised throughout the day, not detached, but grounded in truth. Because when I look to you, everything else begins to fall into place, not always perfectly, not always painlessly, with purpose. My problems do not magically disappear, but they shrink in the light of your greatness. My fears lose their grip when I remember your faithfulness. My doubts grow quieter when I focus on who you are instead of what I lack. And so, I lift my eyes to the hills not out of desperation, but out of confidence, because I know my help does not come from within myself, nor from the approval of others, nor from control or certainty. My help comes from you, maker of heaven and earth, keeper of my soul, anchor of my days. You do not slumber. You do not overlook. You are present even when I feel forgotten. And when I look to you, I find what I did not even know I needed. Peace that steadies, joy that endures, strength that renews. Help me not just to glance upward, but to gaze, to linger, to worship, to let that upward vision shape how I see everything else. Let it change the way I interpret hardship, the way I walk through uncertainty, the way I speak about my future. Let it give me courage to live with open hands and a steady heart. God, let this be the rhythm of my life: to listen, to look, to live. Let me rise each morning not with dread, but with expectation. Let me see the sunrise not as a background to my anxiety, but as a sign of your unchanging mercy. When I am tempted to drop my head again, to spiral into what-ifs and worst-case scenarios, gently lift my chin, whisper my name, show me the sky. Remind me that even when clouds gather, the sun still rises, that even when I cannot see the path, you are guiding me through. And when I lift my eyes and still see mountains in front of me, help me remember you are bigger. You are not asking me to climb alone. You are not distant at the peak. You are walking beside me every step. The hills may look steep, but my help comes from the one who formed them. Let this vision carry me into today. Let it keep me awake to your presence. Let it keep my spirit from growing weary when the world grows loud. And let it remind me, over and over, that no matter how heavy life becomes, I can always lift my eyes and find you there, faithful, kind, and never far away. Father, as I continue lifting my eyes to you, something is beginning to shift, not just in my spirit, but in my thinking. The haze that used to cloud my thoughts is thinning. The noise that used to drown out your presence is growing quieter. Not because the world has slowed down or the circumstances have changed, but because your light is breaking through the noise. There is a new kind of clarity rising within me. Not the clarity of having every answer, but the clarity of knowing where to look and whom to trust. I have spent so much time trying to make sense of everything, trying to understand every detail, solve every problem, control every outcome. My mind has been a spinning wheel, always turning, always searching, always needing to feel in charge. But you are teaching me now that real clarity does not come from knowing all the details, it comes from knowing you. It does not come from having a perfect plan, it comes from being in step with your peace. God, the chaos of life is still present. There are still distractions. There are still 1,000 voices competing for my attention. But in the middle of it all, I am learning to center myself in you, to return to your presence as often as I need, to pause and remember that I do not need to have all the answers to move forward. I only need to stay close to the one who does. The world constantly shouts for me to rush, to react, to solve, but you invite me to pause. You call me back into stillness, not as a luxury, but as a necessity. And in that stillness, you begin to untangle what I cannot. You begin to illuminate what felt uncertain. You bring order not by removing the storm, but by steadying me in the midst of it. I used to think clarity meant certainty, that I needed to know exactly how every decision would play out before I took a step. But now I see that true clarity is not always a clear app. It is a clear heart. A heart that trusts you. A mind that is settled, even if the path ahead is not. Clarity is not always in the plan, but in the peace that holds me as I walk it out. Father, help me see through your eyes, not through fear, not through pressure, not through doubt. Let me see situations, people, and myself with the lens of grace. Let me respond to chaos not with panic, but with perspective. Let me discern what is mine to carry and what is yours. Let me know when to speak and when to stay silent, when to act and when to wait, when to press forward and when to rest. So often I have mistaken business for purpose, but clarity has nothing to do with being busy. It has everything to do with being aligned with you, with truth, with who I am in you. Help me not just to do things for the sake of doing them, but to live with intention, with vision that goes deeper than the surface, with purpose that is rooted in peace. You are not a God of confusion. You are not the author of chaos. You are not hiding your will or playing games with my heart. You are faithful. You are consistent. And when I draw near, you always meet me with wisdom, not always the wisdom of explanation, but the wisdom of presence. The wisdom of knowing what matters most in a moment. The wisdom of stepping away from the rush and stepping into relationship. Even when I do not understand everything, I can understand this, that you are good, that you are with me, and that you will lead me. That truth is enough to cut through any fog. That truth is a light unto my feet, even if it only shows the next step. Lord, I ask you to refine my vision. Remove what is clouding my thoughts, whether it is fear, comparison, overthinking, or insecurity. Clear out the clutter that keeps me from hearing you clearly. Sweep away the distractions that pretend to be urgent, but are really empty. Let my soul become quiet enough to know what truly matters. Let my choices today come from a place of clarity. Not forced, not rushed, but grounded. Let my words be thoughtful. Let my actions be intentional. Let my yes be peaceful and my no be firm in love. Let me walk through this day not as someone pulled in every direction, but as someone who knows who they belong to, God. Clarity is not just about direction. It is about identity. It is about waking up and remembering who I am, not who the world says I should be, not who my fears tell me I might be, but who you have already called me to be. Beloved, redeemed, chosen, whole. Let me move through today with that knowledge as my compass. And when unexpected things happen, and I know they will help me respond, not react. Help me remember that clarity is not about control, but about trust. That I do not need to fix everything. I just need to stay rooted. I just need to keep listening. Keep watching. Keep returning to you. You are not a moment of clarity. You are the source of it. You are the light that breaks through confusion. You are the voice that calms the noise. You are the stillness that remains even when the day becomes loud again. Let my clarity be drawn not from external circumstances, but from internal alignment with you. Let me make space throughout the day to return to this quiet place, where my soul remembers what it is easy to forget in the rush. Remind me that clarity does not mean having all the answers. It means knowing where my answers come from. I do not need to fear what I do not yet see. I do not need to force what has not unfolded. If I can stay close to you, if I can keep lifting my eyes and listening for your voice, then clarity will come, maybe not all at once, but in just the right time, in just the right way. Thank you, Father, for being the one who brings order to my thoughts and light to my steps. Thank you for replacing my chaos with calm, my striving with trust, my confusion with a settled heart. Thank you for helping me see clearly, not because life is perfect, but because you are present. Let me carry this clarity with me today, not as pressure to perform, but as permission to breathe, not as a rigid path, but as a steady light. Let me walk with confidence, not in what I know, but in who I know. You are my clarity. You are my compass. You are my constant in the changing winds. And because of that, I can keep moving forward with peace in my chest and purpose in my steps. Father, now that clarity has begun to rise in the middle of the noise, I am learning to lean into something even quieter, even gentler, your whisper. You have been showing me that not all answers come with lightning. Not every breakthrough arrives with thunder. Sometimes, the truest things, the most sacred, the most healing come like a soft wind, passing through the soul so tenderly, I almost miss it if I am not still. I used to expect you to show up in grand ways. I looked for signs, for bold movements, for obvious shifts. I thought hearing from you would always feel dramatic, unmistakable. But I see now that you are often found in the subtle, in the pauses, in the ordinary. And maybe that is why I have missed you before, because I was too busy looking up when you were speaking low. Lord, help me not to overlook the quiet. Teach me to treasure it. Teach me to become someone who values silence not as emptiness, but as invitation, a space where your spirit moves, not with volume, but with weight. You do not always come with force. You come with nearness. Like a breeze through the trees, you move gently through my thoughts. You are not in the fire, not in the earthquake, not in the storm, not always. Sometimes you are just the whisper, just the still, small voice, just the presence I sense when everything else is hushed. And in that quiet, I feel something holy, not distant, not vague, but intentional, personal, deeply real. There have been moments, Lord, when I was overwhelmed and cried out, only to be met with silence. I thought maybe you were not listening. I thought maybe I had done something wrong. But now I see that silence was not distance. It was depth. It was you waiting for me to become still enough to feel the whisper. I realize now that whispers are meant for those who are close. You whisper because you are near. You do not need to shout to get my attention. You do not need to raise your voice when you already hold my heart. Help me become more sensitive to that whisper. Help me not rush past it. Let me learn to sit in the quiet long enough for my spirit to tune in. Let me stop reaching for certainty and instead start receiving your presence. Even when you do not speak words, your nearness says more than language ever could. God, I do not want to fill every silence with my own noise. I do not want to interrupt the conversation with my need to be heard. Sometimes the most sacred thing I can do is listen, not for instruction, not for answers, just for you. And when you do whisper, let me receive it. Let it land gently in my heart. Let it shape my responses, my tone, my choices. Let your whisper become my guidance, not because it is loud, but because it is true. When the world demands I move faster, speak louder, be stronger. Teach me to move slower. Speak softer and be still. Let the whisper guide me through rooms filled with noise. Let it remind me that I do not need to match the chaos to survive in it. I can move quietly, purposefully, from a place of peace, even when others do not understand, even when they expect more volume, more reaction, more urgency. Let me stay faithful to the whisper. Let me follow the wind that cannot be seen, but is always felt. There is a wisdom in stillness that the world does not always honor, but you do. You have always spoken in ways that require listening hearts, not just active minds. You have always invited intimacy over performance, presence over productivity, being over doing. And I want that now more than ever. I do not just want moments with you. I want a life led by you. A life where I recognize your voice the way I recognize the wind on my face. A life where I do not need you to be loud to know you are here. So I slow down. I breathe. I wait. I let my spirit settle so I can sense yours. I let the hurry fall away. I let the striving rest. And I open my heart to the whisper. Maybe it will come as a sense of peace when I should feel panic. Maybe it will come as an idea I did not expect. A thought that feels kinder than I know how to speak. Maybe it will come in the voice of someone who unknowingly repeats what I needed to hear. Or maybe it will come in the quiet itself, a moment so still it feels sacred. Whatever form it takes, help me honor it. Help me not overlook the small just because it is small. Help me not discount the gentle just because it is not loud. You are in the whisper, and that is enough for me. And when I doubt it, because I know I will, I question whether that nudge was from you. When I second-guess the impression that passed through my spirit, remind me that trust grows in the listening. That even if I do not always interpret it perfectly, you are faithful to guide me. You are not a God of confusion. You do not lead with fear. You are a God of peace, a God who speaks with wisdom that is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and full of mercy, a whisper that does not manipulate, but invites, a voice that does not shame, but restores. Let me become someone who carries that same gentleness into the world. Let your whisper shape how I love, how I respond, how I lead, how I forgive. Let it be the rhythm of my soul and the foundation of my strength. And if today is filled with noise again, if interruptions come, if emotions rise, if stress begins to creep in, remind me that I can always return to the whisper, that I do not need to wait for a perfect setting to hear from you, that even in the middle of the chaos, I can close my eyes, take a breath, and tune my heart to the sound that still changes everything. Let that be the legacy of my life, not a loud presence, but a deeply rooted one. Not a life built on dramatic moments, but on quiet obedience. Because your whisper is enough. Your whisper leads to life. Your whisper brings me back to where I belong, in step with you. Father, as I continue to walk with you in this quiet rhythm of trust, listening for your whisper in the gentle winds of each moment, I now find myself in the middle of the road, a place that is not quite the beginning, and certainly not yet the end. And I realize this is where I have often grown tired, not because I am lacking direction, not because I have lost faith, but because the middle can feel so long, so uncertain, and so silent. The beginning is usually filled with momentum. There is clarity, hope, even energy, and the end, when it comes, often brings relief or celebration. But the middle, Lord, the middle requires endurance. It is where doubts creep in, where strength feels thin, where motivation fades and questions get louder. And today, I feel like I am in that stretch. You know it well, do not you? The waiting between promise and fulfillment, the quiet between seed and harvest, the hours, days, or even years where everything inside me asks, how much longer? It is in these moments, Father, that I most need your strength, not the kind that shouts, but the kind that holds me steady. I do not need fireworks. I need faithfulness. I do not need certainty about what is next. I need courage to remain here, in this moment, and to keep showing up, because this middle place is not meaningless. It is forming something inside of me that I may not yet understand. And though my steps feel slower than before, I trust that slowness is not failure. Progress does not always look like forward motion. Sometimes it looks like staying. Sometimes it looks like pressing in, leaning on you, and learning to be still when everything inside me wants to fix or run or rush. God, help me not to despise this middle ground. Help me not to label it as unimportant just because it does not feel extraordinary. I know you do some of your deepest work in these in-between spaces. You shape character here. You stretch trust. You anchor identity. So today, I ask for strength, daily strength, not borrowed from tomorrow. I ask for just enough to make it through this hour, this task, this conversation. I do not need the whole map. I just need the next step. I do not need the answers for everything. I just need your hand holding mine. Remind me that I am not stuck. I am being refined. I am being grounded. I am being prepared for what is ahead. Even if it feels like I am standing still, the roots go deeper in the unseen places. And you are always doing more than I can perceive. Sometimes the miracle is not in the breakthrough, it is in the staying power you give. It is in the ability to keep showing up with an open heart, even when results are slow or silent. It is in the willingness to trust you more than my feelings, to believe that you are present, even in the monotony. Let my eyes stay fixed on you when the middle stretches longer than expected. Let me find rest in the routine, joy in the journey, grace in the grind. I know I was never meant to carry this season alone, and so I lean into you not with resentment, but with hope, not with fear, but with faith that you are still working, still moving, still guiding, even if I can yet see where it all leads. Father, when discouragement whispers that it is not worth it, that nothing is changing, that I should give up, I pray you would silence that lie with your truth. Speak over me again that I am not forgotten, that this path matters, that you are building endurance, resilience, and trust in the very moments I feel weakest. And when I am tempted to compare my journey, my timeline, my growth with others, help me lift my eyes back to you. This walk with you is personal. It is not measured by pace or performance, but by proximity, by my willingness to stay near, even when the way feels slow or unclear. Let me see beauty even here in the waiting, in the middle, in the places that seem quiet, but are actually holy. You meet me here. You walk with me here. You whisper hope to me here. And that is enough. Give me strength, Lord, not to be impressive, but to be consistent, not to be perfect, but to be present, not to sprint, but to endure. I do not need applause. I need assurance. I need the steady reminder that you are with me, that you are for me, and that even this stretch of the journey is part of the story you are writing in my life. If I need to cry, let those tears be sacred. If I need to rest, Let that rest be a form of worship. If I need to be silent, let that silence be filled with your presence. Let me not rush through what you are trying to teach me here. Let me not resist what you are gently revealing. Let me not lose heart when the progress is slow. Every day with you has purpose. Every step counts. Even the small ones, especially the small ones, they add up. They shape me. They keep me moving forward. One breath, one prayer, one moment at a time. So I place this middle season in your hands. I place my fatigue, my questions, my longing for closure, all at your feet. And I receive instead what only you can give: strength for today, manna for the moment, grace for this part of the path. You have not brought me this far to leave me. You have not led me into the middle to abandon me. And though I can see the finish line, I know you can. So I keep walking. I keep believing. I keep hoping. And every time I feel weary, every time I feel like I can't keep going, I will remember that you are the God who sustains, who restores, who renews. And if you are with me, then I already have what I need. That truth alone gives me strength to rise and keep walking, even in the middle. Father, as I continue walking through the middle place, leaning on the quiet strength you have placed within me, I find myself encountering something even more tender, even more transformative: your compassion. It meets me in the weariness I did not want to admit. It surrounds me when I have run out of resolve. And somehow, in the very moments I feel most incapable, your compassion carries me. There is a softness in you, Lord, that I forget to see when I am focused on endurance. I know you are holy. I know you are mighty. But sometimes I need to be reminded that you are gentle too, that you do not only empower the strong, but you draw near to the fragile, that you are not just the God who strengthens, but the one who holds. You do not just watch me stumble forward through this life. You walk beside me. You see when the pressure is too much. You notice when my efforts feel empty. And you never shame me for slowing down. You simply stay. You simply offer kindness again and again. I have grown so accustomed to demanding more from myself, to expecting perfection, to believing I must push through pain with a brave face. But you are teaching me that compassion is not weakness, is healing. It is not indulgence, it is restoration. And in your eyes, I do not have to prove my worth. I just have to be willing to receive the love you already give. God, it is strange how difficult it can be to receive kindness when I am used to earning approval. Sometimes, your compassion feels foreign because I have spent so long holding myself to impossible standards. But today, I open my heart to it. I let it in not as a reward, but as a truth. Not because I got everything right, but because you are good. Let your compassion wash over the parts of me still burdened with shame. The inner critic that won't quiet. The memories that sting. The failures that still echo. Wrap them all in your mercy. Let them be seen through your eyes not as permanent marks, but as places you are gently mending. You know how tired I have been, Lord, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. quietly, the kind of tired that does not show on the outside, but runs deep. And you do not just tell me to get back up, you kneel beside me. You whisper that it is okay to breathe, that it is okay to weep, that it is okay to be honest. You are not disappointed when I am exhausted. You are not frustrated when I am fragile. You meet me right there, and you lift the weight I thought I had to carry alone. There is something sacred about being seen like this. Fully known, and yet fully loved. You know where I have been hardened by life, and you are softening me again, not by force, but by compassion. You are helping me unlearn the belief that I have to be strong all the time. You are showing me that surrender is not giving up, it is trusting you to hold what I no longer can. Even Jesus, in his most human moments, wept, he grew weary, he felt grief, he cried out, and in him, I see that my fragility is not failure, it is part of being real. And if you, Lord, have compassion for the weary and broken, then surely you will meet me in this place, too. I do not need to defend myself before you. I do not need to pretend I am fine. You already see the weight I carry. You already know the hidden H's I do not say out loud. And still, you come closer. Still, you comfort. Still, you offer peace that does not depend on performance. Help me believe that compassion is not a last resort. It is the way you lead, the way you restore, the way you reach me when nothing else can. Let it become the way I see myself and the way I treat others. When I am tempted to criticize my pace, remind me of your patience. When I start to believe I am falling behind, remind me that you never rush what you are shaping. When I feel small, remind me that you hold the whole world and still care for every detail of my day. Your compassion is not distant. It is near. It is present in every breath. It walks with me through the ordinary. It follows me into every quiet disappointment, every unmet expectation, every place I try to hide. It never tires of loving me, even when I struggle to love myself. Let this truth settle deeper than any lie. Let it disarm the inner battle. Let it become the lens through which I see this day. Let compassion be what steadies my heart when circumstances shake. God, I know I want to always feel strong, but with your compassion, I do not have to, because in the places where I feel undone, you are already there mending, restoring, speaking gently, lifting what feels too heavy. And when I see others walking through their own middle places, their own weariness and confusion, help me remember how you met me. Help me be a reflection of the kindness you continue to show me. Let my words carry gentleness. Let my presence bring peace. Let my life point to the truth that there is still a God who sees, who understands, who cares without condition. Let your compassion be the rhythm of my breath today. Let it shape how I move, how I rest, how I respond. Let it slow me down when I rush. Let it soften me when I harden. Let it hold me when I feel scattered. I do not have to be enough on my own. I do not have to make sense of everything. I do not have to fix all the broken pieces. I just have to come. I just have to let you meet me, and you always do. You meet me not with condemnation, but with comfort, not with disappointment, but with grace, not with pressure, but with peace. That is who you are, and that is more than enough for me today. So I breathe again. I release the heaviness. I receive the compassion you are offering, and I take another step, not in my own strength, but carried by the love that never lets go. Father, now that I have been wrapped in your compassion and reminded that I do not have to carry every weight alone, something inside me begins to stir a quiet invitation to trust again, not with clenched fists, not from a place of obligation or fear, but with open hands and a softened heart, a trust that flows not from pressure, but from knowing I am deeply loved by the one who sees every part of me and still chooses to stay. Trust has not always been easy for me. Life has taught me to be cautious, to build walls, to second-guess intentions and brace for disappointment. I have trusted people who let me down. I have made plans that fell apart. I have prayed prayers that went unanswered in ways I could understand. And slowly, over time, my heart learned to guard itself, not out of rebellion, but out of protection. It felt safer to expect less, to hope smaller, to stay in control. But you, Lord, are not like anyone I have known. You do not use my vulnerability against me. You do not rush me past the wounds I have not finished healing from. You wait. You walk beside me at a pace I can handle. You whisper instead of shout. You do not demand trust, you earn it. Gently, through faithfulness that never fades. And that is what draws me back now, even after all the reasons I have had to hold back. You do not ask me to pretend. You do not expect blind trust that ignores pain or history. You invite me to trust with awareness, with honesty, with the understanding that faith is not the absence of fear, but the choice to lean on you in spite of it. You meet me right in the middle of my hesitation, and you offer stability where I once only knew uncertainty. God, teach me how to trust again, not all at once, but one breath at a time, one small surrender at a time. Show me how to rest in you, even when I do not have every answer. Teach me how to let go without fear of being dropped. Teach me how to open my heart again, not because everything is guaranteed to work out the way I hope, but because I know you will be with me, no matter what happens. There is something sacred about trusting you in the dark. It is not about being certain, it is about being close. It is about choosing to believe you are who you say you are, even when I do not see it yet. And that kind of trust grows in silence, in waiting, in surrender. Not in the moments of triumph, but in the moments when all I can do is whisper, I choose you. I have seen enough of your goodness to know you are trustworthy. I have seen it in the way you held me when I was unraveling, in the doors you closed to protect me, in the peace you gave when logic said I should have been anxious, in the people you brought into my life at the perfect time, in the quiet moments when you reminded me I was not alone. And even in the unanswered prayers, I can look back now and see mercy woven into every delay. So I lean in again. I take one more step toward trusting you with what is most tender. My dreams, my relationships, my healing, my questions. my waiting, my fears, my future, all of it. I place it into your hands, not because I have figured everything out, but because you have proven again and again that you can be trusted with what matters most. Trusting you does not mean I feel afraid. It means I be ruled by fear. It means I will keep walking even when the path is unclear. It means I will hold on to your promises even when they feel far away. It means I will choose peace over panic, surrender over striving, dependence over self-reliance. Let trust become my default response, not because life is easy, but because you are faithful. Let it flow from a place of deep assurance, not just in what you do, but in who you are. When doubt creeps in, remind me of your nature. You are kind. You are patient. You are powerful and gentle. You do not change with the seasons. You do not forget what you have spoken. You do not grow tired of walking beside me, even when I slow down, and when I begin to pick up old habits, overthinking, over-controlling, guarding my heart too tightly. Gently pull me back. Remind me that trust is not a finish line I reach. It is a relationship I nurture. It is a daily turning toward you, even when the circumstances feel unsteady. Help me trust your timing, especially when it feels like nothing is moving. Help me trust your voice, even when it leads me in a direction I did not expect. Help me trust your protection when I feel exposed. Help me trust your provision when I feel empty. Help me trust your purpose when I can see what you are doing behind the scenes. You are not a distant God, asking me to figure things out on my own. You are close. You are the one who says, "Come to me." The one who says, "I will never leave you." The one who says, "Be still and know." And it is in knowing you, not knowing all the answers, that trust finds its roots. So today, I open my hands again. I release what I was clinging to. I loosen my grip on the outcome. I stop rehearsing the worst-case scenarios. And I simply breathe in your presence. I let trust settle into my chest like a quiet strength. A peace that does not deny reality, but holds it with hope. Let trust shape the way I move through this day. Let it soften my reactions, steady my thoughts, ground my decisions. Let it keep me present instead of anxious. Let it quiet the part of me that always wants to rush ahead. Let it remind me that even when things feel uncertain, you are not. You are the same today as you were yesterday, the same in my high points as you are in my valleys, the same in silence and in song. You do not waver, and so I will choose to trust again, not because it is easy, but because it is worth it, because you are worthy. I may not know what is coming next. I may not know how everything will unfold, but I know you. And that is enough to help me take the next step, with peace in my heart and your hand in mine. Father, now that trust is beginning to take root again. I find myself facing the place where trust is most deeply tested, the waiting. It is here, in the long stretches of silence and stillness, where faith either deepens or drifts. Here, where the answers have not yet arrived, where the outcomes remain unseen, where the promises still hang in the air like unspoken sentences. And here, where I sit now, you are calling me to remain, not just with patience, but with courage. Waiting is not passive. I used to think it meant doing nothing, just letting time pass. But now I see that waiting is one of the most active choices I can make. It is choosing not to run, not to rush, not to fix what is not mine to fix. It is choosing to stay grounded in your presence, even when my heart longs to move forward. It is choosing to believe you are working when I cannot see a single change. It is choosing to hold on, even when holding on feels like the hardest thing to do. God, I confess that waiting often feels like weakness to me. It feels like failure, like a reminder that things are not yet where I hoped they would be. But you are teaching me that waiting is not weakness, it is the birthplace of strength. It is where roots grow deep. It is where the soul learns endurance. It is where trust stretches and becomes unshakable. And so I ask for courage, not the kind that rushes into battle, but the kind that stays, the kind that waits without giving in to bitterness, the kind that believes in the unseen, the kind that keeps showing up with faith, even when the day looks exactly like the one before. The kind of courage that leans into the stillness and finds you there. Sometimes the waiting feels like wandering, like I have lost my way or missed a sign, but you gently remind me that even here, even now, I am not off course. This is not a delay. It is a part of the journey. The slowness does not mean you have forgotten. The silence does not mean you have withdrawn. You are doing something in the waiting that you could not do in the rushing. You are forming something in me that speed would only shatter. Lord, help me to wait with expectation, not with anxiety. Help me to guard my heart from the lies that tell me nothing is happening. Help me to find beauty in the process and to celebrate the quiet ways you move behind the scenes. You are the God who works in layers, in seasons, in timing far wiser than mine. Waiting often feels like being unseen, but you see me. You know how many times I have prayed the same prayer, hoping for a different outcome. You know how often I have smiled on the outside while holding disappointment quietly within. You know how hard it is to keep my hands open when I so badly want to take control. And you are still here, still faithful, still writing stories that are far more beautiful than the ones I would have rushed to finish. Teach me not just to endure the waiting, but to embrace it. Let this be a time of refining, of preparation, of quiet transformation. Let it be sacred, not wasted. Let it be full of moments I will one day look back on and recognize as pivotal, even though they felt small. Give me the courage to remain faithful, even when I am not sure what faithfulness looks like. Help me keep sowing seeds of kindness, obedience, hope, and prayer, even when I do not yet see the harvest. Remind me that nothing is lost in your hands. Not one prayer, not one tear, not one surrendered moment. It all matters. It all becomes part of the foundation you are building within me. I know that others may not understand this season. They may wonder why I am still waiting, why I have not given up, why I still believe. But you see the inner work. You see the stretching of faith. You see the softening of my heart. And you are pleased, not because I am perfect, but because I am present. Because I am still here, still leaning in, still choosing you. Help me to resist the urge to numb the waiting with distractions. Help me not to fill the silence with noise or busy myself with things that mask the H. Let me bring my longing directly to you. Let me talk to you about the hopes that still live in me, even if they have been quiet for a long time. Let me open my hands and trust that you know what to place in them and when. God, I know you are never late, but in the middle of the wait, it is easy to forget that truth. So I pray that you would remind me gently, but clearly, that your timing is intentional, that you are not withholding to punish me, but delaying to prepare me, that what you are building in me matters just as much as what I am praying for. When impatience rises, let peace speak louder. When frustration brews, let gratitude find its way in. When I feel stuck, remind me that I am growing roots. And when I begin to doubt, draw near again, whispering your promises back to me. Let this waiting season become a witness of your goodness. Let it be marked by quiet faith and unseen miracles. Let it carry weight, not in the sense of burden, but in the sense of substance. Let it become the soil where joy can bloom, not because everything has arrived, but because you are enough, even now. And even when the day comes that what I have prayed for is fulfilled, let me never forget this place, this holy space where I met you more deeply, where I discovered that the wait was not just about the outcome, it was about the intimacy, the shaping, the becoming, the knowing that my heart is safe in your timing. So I want to rush past this day. I want to wish it away. I will wait with courage, with expectancy, with my eyes fixed on you. Because you are not just the God of the outcome. You are the God of the waiting. And you are here, right here, holding me in the middle, waving hope into the silence, and calling me to trust that what you have begun, you will be faithful to complete. Father, as I wait with courage and lean into the mystery of your timing, I realize there is another gift you are offering me, not just strength or clarity or peace, but something brighter and deeper still. Joy, not the fleeting kind, not the momentary highs that fade with the next challenge, but the steady, enduring joy that holds me even in the dark. The joy that roots itself in something more eternal than circumstance, more powerful than the rise and fall of my feelings. It is strange, Lord, how joy and sorrow can exist side by side. How the very moments that stretch me can also carry glimpses of beauty. I used to think joy was reserved for the mountaintop seasons, the breakthroughs, the celebrations, the answered prayers. But now I see that real joy is forged in the quiet, in the long roads, in the tension of waiting, in the H of surrender. It is here, in the in-between, that joy reveals itself not as a reaction, but as a choice. And I want to choose it, even when the answers have not come, even when the healing feels slow, even when I am still praying the same prayer, still walking through the unknown, because joy does not deny the pain, it lives alongside it. It does not cancel out hardship, it transforms how I move through it. God, awaken my heart to joy, not the kind that demands a reason, but the kind that rises from your nearness. Let it be rooted not in outcomes, but in relationship. Let it come not from what I hold in my hands, but from who holds me. Let it fill the spaces where fear once lingered, and bring light in the corners of my soul that have felt forgotten. I want to notice joy, even here, in the mundane, in the repetition, in the small victories I might overlook. I want to find it in laughter that surprises me, in the warmth of sunlight on my face, in the unexpected kindness of another. I want to see it not as an exception, but as part of the rhythm of grace you are weaving through every day. There is a kind of joy that only grows in the soil of trust. And now that I have laid down fear, opened my heart, and surrendered my timeline, I see the space you have made for it to bloom. Slowly, quietly, but undeniably. And I know now that this joy is not fragile. It does not vanish when life becomes complicated. It does not depend on perfection. It comes from you, and you are unshakable. Lord, help me protect this joy. Help me fight for it when doubt creeps in. Let me not confuse happiness with hollowness, or silence with absence. Let me remember that joy is not always loud. It can be calm and strong and deeply settled. Let me recognize that joy is my birthright as a child of God. Not something I have to earn, but something I get to receive. When discouragement tries to dull my spirit, let joy rise like a song I did not realize I still remembered. When heaviness threatens to press down on my soul, let joy push back not through denial, but through truth. The truth that you are still good, that you are still working, that even here, even now, there is reason to be glad. Let my joy be defiant, not rebellious, but resilient. Let it stand in the face of sorrow and declare that hope is still alive. Let it be my anthem, my testimony, my reminder that the story is not over, that what I see is only a part of what you are doing, that behind the scenes of my uncertainty, you are orchestrating something full of beauty and purpose. God, help me share this joy. Let it not be something I hoard for myself, but something that spills out into how I speak, how I serve, how I show up in the world. Let my joy be contagious, not because I am pretending to be okay, but because I have been held by something deeper than circumstance. When others are hurting, let my joy make space for their grief. When others are weary, let it become an offering of hope. Not a performance, but a presence. A quiet light that says, I have been there too. And still, there is reason to sing. Let me remember that joy is not the absence of trials. It is the awareness of you in the midst of them. It is the belief that I am never alone, that I am never beyond the reach of grace, that the same God who weeps with me also delights in me. There is something so sacred in this exchange, my sorrow for your joy, my heaviness for your lightness. And I do not want to wait for everything to be perfect before I receive it. I want to take hold of it now, in the confusion, in the silence, in the slow days and the unremarkable moments. I want to live from joy, not just toward it. Let that joy give me strength when mine runs low. Let it lift my eyes when they have been fixed on the ground. Let it steady my voice when I speak life into others. Let it be the undercurrent of everything I do. Not loud, but sure. And when I find myself slipping into old patterns of doubt, of despair, of disappointment remind me that joy is not something I manufacture. It is something I receive. It is the fruit of being connected to you. It is what happens when I abide, when I slow down, when I trust that you are enough. So I will choose joy today, not because everything is easy, but because you are near, not because all my questions have answers, but because your love is constant. I will choose to let it anchor me when the world feels uncertain, to let it fill my heart even in the waiting, to let it remind me that you are still writing my story, and you are not done. Joy in the middle of a storm is not delusion, it is faith. Joy in the absence of clarity is not weakness, it is trust. Joy when the world grows dim is not naive, it is hope. And I will hold on to that hope, not loosely, but with both hands. Because joy is not just a feeling. It is a declaration. It is a posture. It is a promise. And it is mine not because life is perfect, but because you are. And even when I cannot yet see the next chapter, I can live this one with joy that runs deeper than the darkness, stronger than the silence, and steadier than any fear. Father, as joy rises within me like a steady flame in the darkness, as I begin to see that even the waiting holds treasures, I now sense something deeper, awakening, an invitation to wholeness. Not perfection, not performance, but restoration, a slow, sacred becoming, a gentle return to who I truly am in you. And I realize now that joy was never the end goal. It was the doorway, the path into something even more lasting. Wholeness. It has taken time to get here, and I know I am still in process. There are parts of me that have healed, and parts that are still tender. There are memories that no longer sting, and others that still surprise me with pain. There are voices I have silenced, and others I still need to unlearn. But through it all, you have never left. You have been the steady hand guiding me deeper into myself, not the self the world shaped, but the self you created, God. I used to think becoming whole meant having everything together. I thought it meant no longer struggling, no longer failing, no longer feeling the cracks. But now I see it differently. Becoming whole is not about hiding the broken pieces. It is about integrating them. It is about letting you bring light into the shadows I have avoided. It is about choosing to be fully present in my own story, scars and all. You do not ask me to pretend I am okay. You ask me to bring the places that feel fractured into your presence, again and again, to let you speak truth over lies, to let you mend what shame tried to destroy, to let you love me in the places I once believed were unlovable. And slowly, piece by piece, you are making me whole. Wholeness, I am learning, is not the absence of struggle, it is the presence of grace. It is knowing that I can walk through valleys and still be grounded, that I can wrestle with questions and still be faithful, that I can carry joy and sorrow at the same time and still be fully alive. I do not want to wait until everything is easy before I embrace this journey. I do not want to wait until I feel fully ready. I want to say yes to the process now, to trust that you are the potter and I am the clay, that nothing in me is beyond repair, that you see the beauty in the becoming, not just the completion. Lord, help me see myself through your eyes, not as incomplete, but as beloved in the midst of growth, not as broken, but as being rebuilt by grace, not as behind, but exactly where I need to be to learn what I have been longing to know, that I do not have to fix myself to be worthy of love. I already am, because you call me worthy. You call me whole, even while you are still healing me. Help me to walk in that identity today. Let it change the way I speak to myself. Let it soften the places I have hardened. Let it quiet the inner critic and awaken the inner child. The one who once knew how to live freely. The one who trusted without walls. The one who danced without shame. I want to live from that place again, a place where I know I am safe in your arms, a place where I am not defined by wounds, but by wonder, a place where my story is not something I try to erase, but something I offer back to you, knowing that you waste nothing, that even the chapters I tried to skip over are being written with redemption. There is something sacred happening inside of me, and I do not want to rush it. I want to let you finish what you have started. I want to move at the pace of healing, not the pace of pressure. I want to be formed from the inside out, not decorated, but transformed, not polished, but rooted. So I give you my whole heart again, the weary parts, the hopeful parts, the pieces that still do not know where they belong. I give you the old narratives that no longer serve me, and I ask you to replace them with truth. I give you the habits I have outgrown and the identities I have clung to out of fear, and I receive, instead, your steady invitation to become fully myself in you. Let wholeness become my new way of being, not just an occasional breakthrough, but a daily return. A steady, surrendered rhythm of living loved, walking free and choosing grace. Teach me to recognize when I am slipping back into fragmentation, when I am dividing myself into roles to please others, when I am hiding parts of me because I am afraid they one day be accepted. Teach me to notice those moments not with shame, but with compassion, and teach me to come back quickly to the center, to the truth, to you, because you are the one who holds all of me, the seen and the unseen, the understood and the hidden. You are not overwhelmed by my complexity. You embrace it, you celebrate it, you delight in it. Let me move through today with that knowledge in my bones. Let it shape how I love, how I lead, how I relate to the world around me. Let it make me more gentle, more grounded, more willing to show up as I am, not as I wish I could be, but as the becoming version of myself you are shaping day by day. And when I begin to forget, when I feel tempted to shrink back or cover up or perform, remind me of this. I am already held. I am already chosen. I am already loved in full measure. And that love is not just a concept, it is a force, a fire, a constant, a covering. You are the one making all things new, including me, not just once, but continually, not just on the outside, but in the places no one else can see. And what you start, you finish. What you touch, you redeem. What you call whole, no one can call broken. So I walk forward again, not as someone trying to become enough, but as someone remembering I already am. Not because of what I have done, but because of who you are. Let that truth carry me. Let it echo in every breath. Let it be the foundation I build my life on. Not a moment of inspiration, but a way of being. Whole. Beloved. Becoming. Fully yours. Father, now that I am learning to live from a place of wholeness, I begin to understand what your word means when it speaks of a peace that surpasses understanding, a peace that does not come from perfect circumstances, but from a heart fully surrendered to you, a peace that is not passive, but powerful, a peace that guards, that steadies, that holds me when emotions rise and fears whisper. And right here, in this stillness, I feel you drawing me to abide in that peace, not just to receive it occasionally, but to make it my home. The world I live in moves fast. It demands answers. It glorifies urgency. It thrives on tension and noise. And so often, I have matched its energy, unknowingly allowing anxiety to fill the spaces where peace was meant to live. But you, God, you offer something different. You invite me to a stillness that does not deny reality, but brings perspective to it. A calm that is not based on escape, but on presence, your presence. I used to think peace was something that arrived only when everything fell into place. When there was no conflict, no uncertainty, no waiting. But now I know that true peace is not found in the absence of storms. It is found in the nearness of the one who calms them. And you are that one. My peace is not a feeling, it is a person. It is you. So I ask you now to continue guarding my heart, not with walls or defenses, but with peace that flows like a river. Let that peace begin on the inside and move outward, changing how I respond to the world around me. Let it be a filter over my thoughts, a shield around my emotions, a grounding force beneath every decision I make. Lord, when my mind starts spinning, replaying conversations, forecasting what-ifs, grasping for control, gently guide me back. Remind me that I do not have to figure everything out today. I just have to stay close to you. I just have to return to peace. Not a temporary pause, but a lasting posture. Not a shallow breath, but a deep anchor. Help me notice when peace begins to slip. Help me slow down before I spiral. Show me the early signs when I start overthinking, when tension builds in my chest, when I begin moving from fear instead of love. And in those moments, draw me in, whisper truth to me. Settle me with your voice. I want to become someone whose peace is not easily shaken, not because I have numbed myself, but because I have trained my heart to trust you. I want to live with a quiet confidence that is rooted in something deeper than news headlines, schedules, opinions, or outcomes. I want peace to become the rhythm of my life, not as the result of everything going right, but as the evidence that you are in control, and I am not. God, let this peace guard not just my mind, but my reactions. Let it shape the way I speak when I am under pressure. Let it hold my tone when I am frustrated. Let it slow me down when I am tempted to rush ahead. Let it give me wisdom to know what needs my attention and what I can release to you. There are so many things I cannot control. I cannot change the choices of others. I cannot force timing. I cannot guarantee outcomes. But I can choose peace. I can choose to remain rooted in your promises instead of being tossed by every emotion. I can choose to return again and again to the shelter of your presence. Let me bring peace with me into every room I enter. Let it be the atmosphere I carry, not manufactured, not forced, but real. Let people feel it not because I am calm on the surface, but because you have done a deep work within me. Let my peace come from the place where I have sat with you, where I have cried with you, where I have learned to breathe even when the world feels chaotic. And when others are anxious, let me be a calm presence, not with quick answers, but with quiet assurance, not with platitudes, but with empathy. Let my peace make room for their pain while gently pointing them toward you. Let my stability invite them to trust again, not in me, but in the source I have found. There will be days when storms rise. I do not deny that, but I believe peace is still possible even then. Because you do not abandon me when things get hard. You do not panic when I feel overwhelmed. You are the same, always steady, sure. And when I fix my eyes on you, peace finds its way back in. So today, Father, I choose peace, not just when it is easy, but especially when it is not, when the day is full, when my heart is tender, when the unexpected happens. Let peace rise. Let it remind me who I am and whose I am. Let it center me in truth, quiet me with love, and ground me in trust. Let my peace be evidence of your spirit at work, a testimony to the world that even in the midst of pressure, pain, or unpredictability, there is a place of refuge. There is a place where striving ends, a place where my soul is still, and that place is you. I want peace to become my signature. Not perfection, not performance, but presence. Presence with you, and presence with people. Fully here, fully grounded, fully surrendered. And when fear knocks, when doubt speaks, when circumstances shift, remind me I do not have to let them in. I can return to what I know, that you are near, that you are good, that you are for me, that you are with me. Let me walk through this day wrapped in peace, not as a fragile hope, but as a divine covering. Let it guard me from within, hold me from behind, and go before me in every moment. Let it become not just a place I visit, but a home I live in, a way I breathe, a way I love, a way I stay no matter what comes. Father, now that peace has found its way into the core of who I am, guarding my heart and mind in the hidden places where fear once lingered, I feel something else rising, something older than fear, stronger than worry, more constant than circumstance. Love, not the kind I have tried to earn or keep by striving, but the kind that flows freely from you, the kind that is unshaken by performance and unmoved by failure, the kind that defines everything I am and touches everything I do. And I sense you calling me to live from that place, not occasionally, but daily. not just in comfort, but in challenge, not in theory, but in truth. You have always been love, from the beginning of time. Before I ever drew a breath or uttered a prayer, you were love. It was love that formed the universe, love that called light out of darkness, love that breathed life into dust. And it is that same love that breathes life into me, now not just to be received, but to be reflected. I confess, Lord, there have been seasons when I did not know how to live from love. I lived from fear, from the pressure to measure up, from wounds I had not yet named, from approval I was desperate to earn. I tried to be enough, to hold it all together, to make people happy, to avoid disappointment. But all of it left me tired, fractured, unsure of where I stood with you and with myself. But now, having walked through silence and surrender, trust and transformation, I realize that everything you have led me through has been drawing me back to love, not just to know I am loved, but to live like it, to let it become my default posture, my baseline, my foundation. Love is what steadies me when the world is uncertain. It is what silences shame and speaks kindness into places I have rejected. It is what keeps me from lashing out and draws me into gentleness. It is what holds me together when I feel like I am unraveling. Help me live from that kind of love today. Let it fill every word I speak. Let it temper every reaction. Let it saturate my thoughts. Let it lead how I see others and how I see myself. When I am tempted to withdraw or withhold, when I want to protect myself by shutting down or closing off, teach me to stay open to keep loving. Not recklessly, but fearlessly. Not carelessly, but intentionally. Let me be known not for my opinions, my talents, or my achievements, but for the way I love, not with a shallow kind of kindness, but with a deep, fierce, sacred kind of care that points back to you, a love that listens before it speaks, that forgives without keeping score, that sees dignity in every person, that risks vulnerability even when it might be misunderstood. God, you are not asking me to perform love. You are inviting me to embody it, to carry it, to walk in it, to let it define my motives and my message. Not just with people who are easy to love, but especially with those who are not. Not just in moments of peace, but in places of tension. Not just in words, but in actions. I know this kind of love requires something deeper than emotion. It requires transformation. And that is what you have been doing in me, rewiring the way I see, feel, and respond. Unlearning the lies that said I had to be perfect to be accepted. Replacing them with truth that says, I am already fully known and fully loved. And because I am secure in that, I can now love others from a place of fullness, not need. Let my love not be conditional. Let it not be dependent on behavior or agreement. Let it not waver with mood or convenience. Let it be rooted in your spirit, grounded in your truth, flowing not from my capacity, but from your endless source. And when I do not feel like loving, when I am tired, irritated, overwhelmed, remind me that love is not always a feeling. Sometimes it is a choice, A quiet yes, a surrendered response, a decision to show up with grace when I would rather pull away, a commitment to be kind, even when kindness costs something. Let my love make room for the broken. Let it be patient with those still in process. Let it be honest, but never harsh, bold, but never cruel. Let it challenge injustice, but always in compassion. Let it be as full of truth as it is of mercy. Father, teach me to love myself as you love me, not in pride or self-indulgence, but in honor, in gentleness, in patience with my own journey. Let me extend to myself the same grace I am learning to give to others. Let me silence the critic within and speak to myself with the same voice you use, firm but kind, truthful but tender, because I can only love others to the extent that I allow myself to be loved. So I return to that place again, your presence, the origin of all real love, the place where I am reminded that I belong, that I am not striving for approval, I am living from it, that I am not earning affection, I am responding to it. Let love guide my goals. Let it shape how I dream. Let it set the tone for how I lead, how I parent, how I serve. Let it change how I pray, not just asking for things, but aligning my heart with yours. Let it be the lens through which I view every challenge and every opportunity. And when fear tries to creep back in, when scarcity whispers that there is not enough time, not enough energy, not enough love to go around, remind me of who you are. Remind me that love is not limited, that in you I am not depleted, I am replenished, refilled, restored. So I say yes again, not to striving, but to staying rooted, to abiding in your love, and allowing that love to flow out into every part of my life. This is the life I want to live, a life of overflow, a life that makes room for others, a life that reflects the reality of being deeply loved. Let that be the legacy I leave. Let that be the fragrance I carry. Let that be the truth that fills every ordinary moment with extraordinary grace. Father, now that I am learning to live from a place of love, a love that flows not from striving, but from abiding in you, I begin to hear something clearer than ever before. The steady, compelling call of purpose. It is not loud or forceful, but constant. It is not defined by performance or applause, but by alignment with who you created me to be. I used to chase purpose like it was something far off, hidden in the future, waiting for me to earn it. But you are teaching me that true purpose is not discovered in the spotlight. It is revealed in surrender. So much of my life has been spent wondering if I am doing enough, becoming enough, finding my calling. I have measured my worth by outcomes and tried to discern purpose through productivity. But now, walking with you in quiet, consistent communion, I realize that my purpose is not something to chase. It is something to live moment by moment, choice by choice, rooted in love and carried by peace. You did not create me to simply accomplish things. You created me to walk with you, to know you, to reflect your character in everything I do. And from that relationship flows every assignment, every act of obedience, every whisper of calling. It does not start with achievement. It starts with intimacy. Lord, Help me to align my life with that kind of purpose, the kind that is not shaken by seasons or changed by failures. The kind that does not depend on visibility, but on faithfulness. The kind that shows up in how I treat people, how I speak truth, how I stay present, and how I love well even when no one else sees. I want to stop waiting for someday to feel meaningful. I want to live on purpose right now. In this conversation, in this task, in this breath. Let purpose be not just something I carry in my calendar, but something that pulses in my spirit. Let it saturate the ordinary and make it holy. You do not call me to everything, but you do call me to something. You have entrusted me with gifts, with influence, with a voice, with time, not to waste them or bury them out of fear, but to invest them in love, to offer them freely, to use them in alignment with your heart. Help me to recognize that purpose does not always feel glamorous. Sometimes it looks like listening well. Sometimes it means being present when I would rather rush. Sometimes it calls me to speak when silence feels safer, or to be silent when words would only wound. Purpose is not about being impressive, it is about being available. And I want to live available. God, I surrender my agenda again. I surrender the timelines I have constructed, the definitions of success I have adopted, the pressure to do what looks good instead of what is good. I surrender the need to prove anything and embrace the freedom of simply being yours. Let your spirit guide my steps today. Let every yes be intentional. Let every no be rooted in wisdom. Let every plan be held loosely in hands that trust you more than they trust control. If you call me to step out, let me move with courage. If you call me to be still, let me remain in peace. There are moments when I still wonder if I am missing it, if I have taken a wrong turn, if I have waited too long. But you gently remind me that nothing is wasted in your hands, that even the detours become part of the destination, that even in my delays, you are working things together for good. So I let go of the pressure to have it all figured out. I trust that purpose is less about clarity and more about connection, staying connected to you, the one who authors my life and writes each chapter with intention. Let my daily life reflect that connection. Let my work be an offering, not a performance. Let my conversations point people toward grace. Let my presence bring peace into the rooms I enter. Let my choices reflect integrity. Even when no one is watching, let my actions align with truth, not trend. When comparison tries to cloud my vision, help me lift my eyes. Remind me that my purpose is not to live someone else's story. It is to walk fully in my own. You have placed me here, in this time, with these gifts, for reasons I may not always understand, but I trust you do. And that is enough. Lord, when the day feels small or repetitive, when my efforts seem unnoticed, when I wonder if it is making a difference, breathe fresh perspective into my soul. Remind me that the seeds I plant in faith will bear fruit in time. Remind me that impact is often invisible in the beginning. Remind me that obedience is success in your eyes. Give me discernment to know what to pursue and what to release. Give me boldness to step into rooms I have been afraid to enter. Give me humility to back away when pride wants to push forward. Give me joy in the process, not just in the progress. Let my purpose never become a burden. Let it be a joy, a reflection of your love flowing through me. Let it give shape to my days and meaning to my movement. Let it grow in the soil of faithfulness, watered by worship, pruned by truth, and nourished by grace. And when the journey gets long, when progress is slow, when opposition rises, when fatigue sets in, be my reminder. You started this work in me. You planted these desires. You breathed life into these dreams. And you are not done yet. So I will keep showing up. I will keep listening. I will keep trusting that each moment matters, that each act of love reflects your nature, that each step taken in obedience echoes in eternity. Purpose is not about being busy. It is about being aligned. And I want to live aligned with your word, with your heart, with the calling you have placed on my life. Let that alignment be my compass today. Let it direct my time, my energy, my focus, my words. This is the life I want, a life that is not perfect, but purposeful, a life that is not loud, but impactful, a life that reflects the love I have received, the peace I have learned, the wholeness I am becoming, and most of all, a life that points back to you, the source of it all. Father, as this quiet morning unfolds, as every word from my heart has drawn me deeper into yours, I realize that this has never been about completing a prayer or reaching a destination. It has always been about abiding, not just in holy moments, but in the sacred ordinary, in the still rhythm of daily life, where you are constantly present, unseen, but never absent, silent but never distant. You have brought me through valleys and silence, through waiting and healing, through release and renewal, and now I stand in this quiet space, not finished, not perfected, but fully awake, awake to grace, to purpose, to the quiet miracle of being held by you, even when I do not fully understand how or why. There is nothing dramatic in this moment, and yet it is full of peace that steadies, love that anchors, joy that endures, and purpose that aligns my soul with the pulse of heaven. There is a new strength rising, not loud or boastful, but steady, sure, planted deep in the roots of trust you have nurtured in me over time. You have reminded me that the journey is not only about overcoming the storms or reaching the mountain peaks. It is also about learning how to carry peace when the winds rise, how to live loved when I feel unseen, how to be faithful in the quiet where applause does not echo. It is about walking with you, not ahead of you, not behind, but beside. It is about learning to recognize the beauty in a quiet morning, the holiness in folding laundry, the sacredness in every breath when I choose to live aware. I am beginning to see that holiness is not only found in churches or scriptures or songs, it is found in laughter around the dinner table, in silent prayers breathed between tasks, in the way my heart softens when I choose grace over judgment. It is found when I pause long enough to hear your whisper, in the sound of leaves rustling, or in the space between sentences. Lord, teach me to carry this nearness into every moment. Let this posture of prayer become the posture of my life. Let the words spoken in this sacred space shape how I speak to others. Let the stillness I have cultivated here steady me when the world spins fast. Let the softness I have found here remain when the days grow harsh. Let the peace that's settled in this quiet time flow into everything I do. Remind me that I do not have to strive to return to this place. It is not confined to early mornings or quiet rooms. It is not reserved for special days or spiritual highs. This place, this abiding travels with me. It walks into meetings and family dinners, into joyful celebrations and mundane routines. It is as close as my breath, as near as my next prayer. And when I forget, when I rush past the moment, when I get lost in distractions or tangled in fear, gently bring me back, not with shame, but with kindness, not with pressure, but with presence. Remind me that you never left, even when I wandered. Remind me that coming back to you does not require effort. Just awareness. As I continue walking, help me keep choosing love when it would be easier to withdraw. Help me speak peace into chaos, joy into sorrow, truth into confusion. Help me be a person of light, not by pretending life is perfect, but by carrying hope that glows even in the shadows. Let me become a vessel for everything you have poured into me here, and to every heart who has walked this path alongside mine, to every soul who has leaned in, who has listened, who has dared to believe that change is possible. I thank you. Thank you for bringing your whole self to this sacred space. Thank you for being brave enough to feel deeply, to trust again, to speak your own prayers in the quiet corners of your heart. You are not alone. You never were. The God who met me in the hidden places is the same God who holds you now, right where you are, as you are. And if these words have met you like a gentle friend, if they have lifted a weight or sparked a light, I invite you to share that story, not for applause, but for connection. Because your voice matters. Your experience is sacred. Your words may be the healing someone else has been longing for. So I welcome your reflections, your prayers, your testimony in the space below. Let this not be a monologue, but a conversation. Let it become a community, a gathering of hearts learning to pray not just with words, but with lives. And if you have not yet, I invite you to subscribe, join this circle of faith, where we rise together, where we remember together, where we keep choosing hope day by day. Share this with someone who might be searching for peace, someone who needs a reason to believe again, someone who has been holding on by a thread and needs to know they are seen, they are loved, they are not forgotten, because faith grows when it is shared. Light multiplies when it is passed from one hand to another. Let this not be the end of a prayer, but the continuation of a life that is prayer, a life that listens, that loves, that trusts, that moves slowly enough to notice grace unfolding like sunlight across the floor, a life that breathes deeply and walks lightly, a life that lingers with God, even when the day begins to press in. And as this morning stretches into day, and this day stretches into the unknown, let it all be marked by a quiet certainty you are here, still leading, still whispering, still holding all things together, and I will keep walking, not alone, but accompanied by love, guided by purpose, and surrounded by peace, like the first light of dawn that kisses the sky, like a cool breeze that stirs the leaves, like living water flowing gently through the wilderness. Your presence remains, and I will remain with you here, now, always,